thereafter. So thank you for that, Sam. So now there won't be question and answer until the end of all sections. So you have to stay through all the sections so that you'll be able to understand more of how the whole thing goes. And right now, I'm going to leave the floor open to our first facilitator, Bro Segun Ayola.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Oh, good.
Hello, sir.
All right.
Hello, sir.
Okay, nice, nice. Okay, so I believe everyone should be able to hear me. Okay.
We can hear you, sir.
Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. So I'll be very fast about this. And, I think, okay, Bro Samuel, I think you have the presentation. So that we don't waste too much time. We've actually made sure that we have this meeting, each session have a presentation, so that it will be very concise and accurate. Okay, Samuel, are you there?
Oh, sure, I am.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, I think you can share your screen. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let me share my screen. Please permit me to share my screen. Just a moment. Okay, download. Oh, sorry. It's just a moment. So like I used to tell people, UK application may be easy, but USA application is not so easy. You need at least if everything works out as planned, you need at least a year. That is even the least to prepare for your application to the United States. Okay, good. Okay, I believe everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Okay. So so let's delve deep into it quickly. I think I have just 15 minutes for this presentation. Okay, so okay, good. So this is the general introduction. As you can see, full funding may not be as common as that of graduate students. It's those that are preparing for their studies, you need to be aware that it is not as common. That's the word. There are scholarships, but full scholarship may not be as common for undergrad compared to that of grad students. Grad students here means those doing their master's and Ph.D. The second thing says, I will advise that students do their undergraduate program in Nigeria. This is just the introduction. If you have the money, let's say your parents are so rich, okay, no problem. I'm just be aware. I'm not saying there are no scholarships. There are scholarships. But it is advisable you, if you can, it is advisable you do your program in Nigeria. Then be prepared to make a lot of sacrifices. You will spend some money. And again, remember this: USA rewards academic excellence. Try to have excellent results too. Results like having 7 A1s in WAHEC, your WASSCE, anyway, we'll continue. I will show you everything as we progress. Then this last thing is very important. Application to USA is somewhat a full-time job itself. So let's go on. So having those information in mind, let's quickly discuss some things. So this is the main thing. I won't be covering some of the things because those that will be teaching or guiding us on the graduate programs will go through some of the things here. So first thing here is application package. Then we have platforms and visa applications, which is not covered. So you just have to wait for the graduate program. I know that many of us here are not even in high school, but we may have younger ones that may be interested in applying, or you may want to want them to apply to the United States. Okay, so we have the application package. So the first thing here is the statement of purpose. As you can see, not all schools require it. Okay, so but it is usually around 500 words, and make sure you let it be reviewed by somebody. Your SOP is just like an essay, like a motivation. You write. It's just like selling yourself. Okay, your plans, your purpose, okay, what you'd love to do in the course of your studies, and your drive. What is driving you? That is just it in a nutshell. Then second thing here is your high school transcript. I will show you something like that in the next slide, how it should look. Your high school transcript from your SS1, I mean, for those in Nigeria now, from your SS1 to SS3, you know, I will show you an example of that. Then your WASSCE, try to pursue straight A's. Don't forget, I said USA, they reward academic excellence. Then there's this exam called SAT. Like I said, very important for acceptance and scholarship consideration. So aim 1,450 and above. This exam is all over 1,600. And this exam is just mathematics, just high school mathematics, English, simple English, and essay. It's just, it is really easy if you can prepare very hard for it. So some students, I know some students that are in the United States now, who started taking the SAT since SS1. And I know a student that the first time that student took it in SS1, I think the student got 1,000 over 1,600. Then when that same student took it in SS2, that's third time or so. Oh, anyway, be informed that these exams, you can take them all around the year. There are times you can take them, so you can register for them. So it is not like, say, your WASSCE, GC, or WAHEC, that you only do May or June or November, December. There are times. So you can take, so students can take it up to, say, 3 to 4 times in a year. So these exams are taken all around, all year round. So don't forget, academic excellence is very important. Then TOEFL is just an English proficiency examination. It is waived for Nigerian students in most schools now because they believe that Nigeria is an English-speaking country. And the last thing here, which is important, is your recommendation. I will show you in the next slide. I realized that when I got to the United States here, one of the important things here is recommendation. They don't joke with it. They don't joke with recommendation. Most schools do not require it, but they usually provide a space for you to upload it. They don't really require it for undergrad students, but they usually put a space there because when someone is recommending you, that means you are credible. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So this is an example of a letter of recommendation. So your your school letterhead or whoever is recommending you, maybe the person has a business or whatever person has, but usually it is better that the person recommending you is your teacher, your high school teacher, maybe who taught you mathematics or English or biology or whatever person taught you, and the person can say some things about you. So the letterhead should be here. Like I said, it's not compulsory, but it is better. So we have the school letterhead. Then if you read this, you notice that wow, that this is a great recommendation of the student. This testifies of the student's personality. Okay, the person has known the student for some years. Okay, this testifies of the fact that the student has a goal of pursuing medicine and surgery, whatever. Okay, the third paragraph here is saying that, oh, she's proficient in English and she's this, she's that, you know. And the last paragraph is like, oh, without reservations, I strongly recommend the students. If you need it, I can send to you. You know, if you need it for your students or your siblings, then as you can sign, signature is not compulsory, but it's good to just have it authenticated and you know it is cool. So this is an example of the high school transcript. Most high school do not have it. Okay, so you can just, if you need it, you can just show them this. So they will just take your scores, you know, do this. This SS1 score here is just the average of your first term, second, and third term. So as you can see the key here, if you need it, I can send to you. The key here, I think 75 to 100 is excellent, which is 4.0. So this is a calculation, you know, just a simple calculation of mean and median, you know. I mean mean now. So as you can see that this student got 3.93 over 4, which is a very good CGPA for scholarship consideration. This same student got about 1,200 in her SAT, which I realized that every school she applied to give her a level of scholarship, and because she has a very good profile. Okay, so I'm rounding off. So this is very important. This is very, very important for undergrad students. Very, very important. Because even we that are here, we still have people that guide us, and we ask questions continuously. So we have a WhatsApp group. Don't forget that we have a WhatsApp group for guidance. You can ask questions. Don't forget, ask questions. Ask any question. There's no foolish questions. Ask questions. If you have questions now, you can pen them down. All your questions will be answered. But never think that you would have the whole knowledge in just 15 minutes presentation to know how to apply and schools to apply to. You need to keep asking questions to be properly guided. Then there's also a platform, you know, that exists in Nigeria called the EducationUSA, and this is actually for students that have at least 6A1 in their WASSCE, the WAHEC, the Major home, not the GCE, the Major WASSCE. So this platform will mentor the students. I think this, I don't really have too much information about it, but I think I have guys that have full information about EducationUSA. But I think they take at least 6A1 in WAHEC. So don't forget, we have a platform that you can join, you know, our WhatsApp group. If you have questions, just join. You know, you need to be where people of like minds are, so that you can be properly guided. So and to summarize the whole thing, so in this journey, you need proper guidance, and never imagine to work 20 hours per week to pay tuition if you think you can come here without any form of scholarship or funding. You know, I've been hearing this often on WhatsApp that, oh, just enter first, just jackpot, enter, you will you can work and study. It is really deadly. It's deadly. Guys that I know that are working here have a level of scholarship. They have a level of scholarship that they're using to offset their bills. There are a lot of bills to pay here in the United States. So it is so hard telling an undergrad, a 15, 16, 17-year-old student to come and study and still work. It is so demoralizing. So that's I'm saying that if you want to come from a standing, your parents should have some level of funding for you, even if you have scholarship. Because full funding for students, for undergrad students is not so common like for graduate students. Okay, so that will be it for now. We don't want to take our time. So if you have questions, just keep your questions. We'll take all questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, bro Shegun. That's a wonderful session. Oh, thank you very much, sir. God bless you, sir. Before we proceed to the second part, which is the graduate application, Owosho, is Mr. Mike around? Just want to confirm.
Oh, I've been trying to call him. It's not picking up
Okay.
for now.
Okay. So before that, before Mr. Mike comes, so this is something I just want to say, just to buttress on what the first speaker told us. While there are some schools that may actually waive this standardized test, and the standardized test, the standardized test for undergraduates. And when we are talking about undergraduates, that means you're starting from your 100 level in the university. So that's what we mean. Even if you have gone to the Polytechnic or you have done first undergraduate and you want to do undergraduate again here, so the requirements involve you writing standardized tests, and the standardized test is SAT or ACT. SAT or ACT. So you can check it out perhaps on Google or something. You can check ACT standardized test, A, C, and T, or SAT standardized tests. So, and if you want to ask, just pen down your question at the end so that the speaker is going to respond to each of those questions, including how to register for this test, how to prepare for this test. If you're on the group, we have been posting different links on how to prepare for this test, which includes materials to prepare for each of these tests. So we have SAT, we have ACT. For example, in my school, I made inquiry recently for pre-nursing or anyone coming, maybe for undergraduate, but specifically for pre-nursing. The school is actually waiving SAT or ACT for anyone coming, perhaps due to COVID and other stuff. And I think another school, maybe Minnesota State University. Oh, so Minnesota State University, I think maybe some of their programs as well waive SAT or ACT. But you see, one of the problems, or let's say disadvantage associated with waiving, is that when it comes to scholarship, the ones that have written those standardized tests or maybe have higher scores in this standardized test will be prioritized more because it improves on their profile. For example, you have 7 A's in your high school, other person has 7 A's. So while they are considering each of these things and your transcripts as well, and perhaps you are almost on the same scale. So if the other person went ahead to write standardized tests and he has maybe a higher score, then the reviewer, the admission committee would choose the other person first before considering those ones without those standardized tests. So that's just the disadvantage considering these things. So, Sam, are you available? Have you been able to reach out to Mike?
No, I've not been able to reach out.
Oh, okay. Perhaps we just go to number 3. Oh. Mr. Sam, Mr. Oluwole Samuel. Hope you're online.
Yes, I'm online.
Okay. So perhaps we just go to the third slide. So guys, please put down your questions and answers for each session. Just put it down and we're going to take note of it. You can also send your questions to the chat, to the chat session on the Zoom. So, Rasam, are you ready?
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, good evening. My name is Oluwole Samuel. I'm a student in the United States, and I'll be talking briefly on just in a few minutes. I'm going to edit something. Yeah, okay. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, let's proceed. I'll be talking briefly on securing scholarship, funding, and assistantship. Now, before I proceed, it is very important for you to know the main points in securing scholarship in the United States. For admission, I've seen people that have been on this admission of a thing for the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and some people got tired and just forget about it. So it's important for us to share the major information that needs to be known about this. In securing scholarship, the first thing and the most important thing I would like to tell everybody is code email. You need to know how to send code email to professors, which will give you high chance ahead of your colleagues, because you are not the only one that is trying to apply to that school or to that department. You have like many people trying to enter the school or the department in that same year or that same semester, that same term. And something should distinguish you from others, which is what's called email. Now, why do you need to email prof? The reasons behind this, you are emailing the professor to clarify if your research interests align and stir up interest in your candidacy. This is very, very important for you to know the professor, maybe your what you want to study, the branch of the course you want to go, and the one of the professor aligns together. You need to know that through your email, everything is sorted between you and your professor. Second, to find out if the professor's laboratory or research group is accepting new students in your proposed term or semester of enrollment. Now, yeah, you can enroll during spring period or fall period. And your email will let you to know from your interaction with your professor whether his lab is available, whether there's vacancy for you to join the lab for that period, maybe for spring period or for what, fall period. It is very, very important for you to send these code emails. Why? The third one is to sell yourself properly to the professor or to the research group. From your code email, everything will be well explanatory there, for the professor to see what your intentions are in to join the lab and what you have to offer to the lab. From your experiences, maybe from your academic experience, education, and from your industry experience, have to input everything in your code email. As I go on in this presentation, I will show you a format of a code email that you can send to any professor at any time. And the next one is, we are talking of professor. How do you, some questions might be flowing through your mind now, that how do I get these professors? Now, how am we here to search for opportunities or what professors? The first is through the school websites. You can just go to Google and type something like University of Alabama, for example, University of Alabama Graduate School, then the department, chemistry department, and search for it. The first 2 or 3 links that will come up will give you a direct link to that department, to the graduate school department of the school. And from there, you can just, there usually be a tab or a page known as people. Under the people, you see a faculty, click on faculty, you see the list of the lecturers in that department with their full details, their email, their phone number, their posts, maybe is the professor, doctor, senior lecturer, assistant lecturer, associate and professor, as assistant professor, maybe a professor, adjunct professor, a professor emeritus, and so on and so forth. You will see all their posts, all their details will be fully there. And also you can search on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also a very good channel for you to get professors. Also, you can you create accounts on LinkedIn. After creating an account on LinkedIn, you can just go to the search tab to type professor. For example, I'm just using this as an example, professor of physics, the University of Alabama. It will bring down lists of professors in that school, in that department for you. Then from there, you can add anyone you like to join this lab. You can add them there, then start messaging them from that platform. Same thing can happen to Twitter. There are much on Twitter. You can take this opportunity also on Twitter, create an account on Twitter. On the search bar, you can just type professor of physics, University of. I'm just using this as an example. You can type for your own department. For example, now I'm using professor of physics, University of Alabama. Also bring down a list of professors in that school, in that department for you. From there, you can add them up and start sending them messages for you to get opportunities in their lab. From there, you can know a lot about what is going on in their lab, whether they have vacancy for new students to join their group or their research lab. Also, the same thing applies to Facebook. Almost all of us have account on Facebook. You can just go to your search bar, type professor of physics, University of Alabama, to also bring down a list of people. So these are the different channels by which you can search for professors to send your code email to. Because you're not the one, as I said earlier, you're not the only one that is trying to enter the school or trying to enter the department. We have a lot of international students all over the world that are also trying to enter the department, also that even have more qualifications than you, but something must distinguish you from them, which is code email. And from this code email, most of us have been able to get into the US, as in without much stress, without wasting much time in doing all these things, because I know people that have been doing it for years and it has not been working out for them. But with the help of code email, some of us have been able to get it. I even had a friend yesterday that got his visa, and he followed this same process of code email. He got different scholarship and just went for one, got his visa yesterday, and everything went well. When we talk of code email, we have formats. Like this is a typical format that anybody can use at any point in time. This is one of the format that I used during my own time. Like this format, you can say, okay, from the email, example of code email format that you can send to a professor. Dear professor, then you introduce yourself. My name is blah, blah, blah from so country. I have a bachelor degree of master or master's degree of social course and department, and from which school, from your school, with a GPA, the GPA you finished with in your undergrad or your master's degree. Then if you've done your GRE, you have to specify everything there. It must be in your what and must be contained in your introduction. I have GRE scores verbal, you write what you get, your quantitative, you write your score there, your analytical writing, you write your scores there. Your TOEFL also, which is your English text. I also have taken TOEFL score of reading, write your score there, what you get in your reading, your listening, your speaking, your writing. And I wish to apply to what PhD program in so department. Let me use chemistry as an example, maybe analytical chemistry in your school. Then you give your reason. I am really interested in joining your research group as I have a deep knowledge in chemistry or analytical chemistry, just to be specific with the branch of chemistry you want to join. During my undergraduate studies, both in school and in industry, I've operated so instruments. If your department requires like science students that have operated a lot of instruments, and just lists the number of instruments that you've operated before. Your knowledge about then the next paragraph, you have to talk about your knowledge about the lab that you are trying to enter. You must show a little as a information. For this next paragraph, you must show your knowledge about the lab you are trying to join. I've gone through some of your publications and I'm motivated with the content in the publication. I'm interested in joining your research group in order for me to explore more in blah, 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 blah. You have to state things that will relate with the lab, to engage myself in series of different practicals, researches, and so on and so forth that aligns with that lab that you are looking up to join, as this aligns with my research interests, and to carry out researches using different method, instruments, and so on and so forth. You can rephrase this part to suit the lab you are trying to join in your own. So it's very, very important to know this. And also this paragraph is very, very important. Getting into a doctoral program will help me develop the necessary skills to achieve my goals. It will also give me an avenue to not only impart the industry through my discoveries, but also help develop my teaching skills, as I love teaching. I have always been interested in discovering how things work and solving problems. I know a PhD requires commitment, and for me, it will take about 4 to 5 years of dedicated study, research work, paper publication in peer-reviewed journals, lots of late night works, and so on and so forth. So this paragraph will let the professor to know that, okay, you know what you are trying to get into. And also this paragraph, you can just attach all the results that you have, the result of your TOEFL, your GRE, your transcript, your CV. That below is my CV, transcripts, TOEFL, and GRE score for the professor to see that truly you are ready for the application to join its lab. Because these are just the requirements. You just have to have your requirements before sending some of this code email. And thanks for your time and consideration, as I look forward to hearing from you soon. Just sincerely, you put your name there. It's very important to have this format on ground and start sending them to the professor. Now, there are a lot of things I would like to tell you about code email. Sending code email is not the most important thing, but sending it at the right time is the important thing. Code email itself is a work on its own, as in is a whole work on its own. During my time, we used to, me and my colleagues then, because I did tutorial, and there I met a lot of vibrant students from other schools, Unilag, Covenant, Bowen, blah, 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 also in the same department, in the same classroom where I was doing my GRE tutorial then. So we all came up with a format by weekly. We'll be sending like 50 emails out to these professors, like 10 per day. You need to know when to send. Don't send during the weekend. Saturdays and Sunday are off for them. Just send between Monday to Friday and between 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Those are the time that you need to be sending your mails. It's very, very important for you. And you need to know the timing, the time difference between Nigeria and the states, the school you are looking up to join is. So you need to know all these things very well before trying to send any email out. Because if you send your email during the weekend, the professor or the professor might not read it. And if you send your email before or after 4 p.m., the person might not even open it to read it because they used to receive a lot of emails. Before they will read all those emails to get to your home, to take time. And it's very, very important to make sure that your mail enters and it's like 1 to first 20 in his box. If he wants to read the first 20 emails in his box, should be able to get your mail, read it, and reply you. Also, who are the when you talk of many professors, we have different professors, as I said earlier. We have the adjunct professor, the emeritus, the professor emeritus. See, those two people, don't bother yourself about them. The adjunct professor, professor emeritus, don't bother yourself about them. If you send mail to them, to most of them, like few of them will reply you, and out of those few that will reply you, just say, I retired last 2 years, I retired last year, I'm retiring in the next 2 months, I'm no longer taking students in my lab. Those are the type of responses you'll be getting from those type of people. People that you should be targeting are main professor, assistant professors, associate professors. Those three set of people are the ones that usually take students into their lab. They are ready to take students into their lab if they have vacancy in their lab to take you into. Now, to this example of application fee waiver format, as we all know, the conversion rate of Naira to dollar in Nigeria today, most schools will require you to pay application fee, some $50, some $75, some $100, some even more than $100. And if you know the conversion rate to Nigeria, you are trying to apply to a school that you are not even so sure of first, and you'll be wasting money, wasting time, wasting effort. So it's very, very important for you to do this at some point in time, whereby you'll be required to pay for application fee. Not all of them require paying application fee. Some are free, while some requires you to pay. For those that require you to pay, it's important for you to do this. It's not all of them that will grant it actually, but few of them will still grant it, and some of them will help you out with the application. Like requesting for application fee waiver. I can just write a format like this. I'm writing to request for application fee waiver to submit my application for the PhD program at the chemistry department. Name the school there. Your name. I recently completed my bachelor degree in the course, the name of the school. I've been interested in joining your school for so years. Can just put some reason there. This paragraph and this paragraph are the most important thing to put there. These two paragraphs, like your reason for fee waiver. Why are you sending mail? Why are you sending me this email for what? Application fee waiver. My inability to pay the application fee is because of my family financial status. I'm from a family of 5 with a total annual income of $5,000. My sibling even struggle to attend classes as a result of uneven distribution of income and cost of education in my own country. Just have to give them a pitiable reason, as in a pitiable reason. It's not necessarily give them this, but just have to form a reason for them, a pitiable reason, most importantly, for them to consider your application fee waiver application. And sending this to most graduate coordinator, some of them might reply you with a code, a special code. During my own time, some of them I received like 3 or 4 special code. They will tell me, okay, once you get to the point of submission, just put this code and your application will get submitted successfully. So some will reply, some will tell you that there's nothing they can do to it, you just have to pay. So it's very, very important for you to do most of these things before submitting or starting your applications. Your code, email, application fee waiver format, they are very, very important. Now I will go to the last part of the presentation, which is funding. Funding in the graduate school typically comes in the form of scholarships, graduate assistantship, and fellowship. It could be any one of them or combination, maybe TA plus RA. This is teaching assistant, which is commonly known as TA. This is research assistant, RA. This is administrative assistant. But for teaching assistant, it entails lab instructor. Your function is just to take lab classes and practicals. Yeah, you'll be required to grade some of your work to be instructor of what record. And TA assistant goes beyond this a little bit, and you'll be required to take labs, as I said earlier, to give presentation to the students about the practical of the day. And after you are done with the presentation, you'll be have to inspect every student one after the other. Sorry. Yeah, you have to inspect all the students. If any of them have questions, be responsible to answer the question throughout the lab, throughout the experiment of the day. And also you'll be requested to maybe, like in my school, you'll be requested to give them assignments weekly. It's called worksheets here. You give them assignments. You have to grade it before the next week, before the next lab. And also one of the TA assignments is proctoring. Proctoring in Nigeria is commonly known as invigilating. You have to invigilate. You'll be assigned to some lecturers or professors to help them in invigilating their classes during the semester. Is one of your TA assignments, as well as what grading of the assignments, grading of your students, everything about the section you are assigned to will be shouldered on you. I mean, teaching, grading, proctoring will be on your shoulder as you are doing your own studies also. That's also one of your assignments to be done to the department. And the next one here is what? Research assistant, which is what? Laboratory. You'll be working as a laboratory operator or research, working with the what? Faculty. In this, most of the professors will be working under might give you a particular project to be working on, a particular project or research to be working on, and that will be your job for that period of time, and you'll be working in his lab as a research assistant. And at times, it might come in combination of the two. I've seen people doing the two, teaching assistant and research assistant together at a time. While some only teaching assistant, some research assistant, as I said, it could be any one of them or combination. So it might come in any way. While the third one is administrative assistant. In this, you'll be working as a librarian or receptionist in the school. In the school library, you can just be working there to be in the shelf, to be able them to arrange the books in the shelves and so on and so forth. That's the administrative assistant funding for that. While the last one here is fellowship. This fellowship is totally different. It's for exceptional students and very competitive. It doesn't require work, and it has its own specific requirements. It's not about I know book, I have big GPA. No, it has some specific requirements. Some might come, okay, this is for African students, and this African student must come here to present so. Like I saw one last semester, it's for both Asian students. Yeah, it's for Asian students in the school. Those that can give presentation both in English language and Spanish language, and they attach some free requirements to it. So despite the fact that everybody are Ghana student, there's not everybody that can apply for that. It's only those people that can speak Spanish fluently that can apply for that. So most fellowship do come with some specific streamlined requirements. Yeah, this leads to the end of the whole presentation under was securing scholarship, funding, and everything you need to know about what assistantship. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bro Sam. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. You see, sometimes I could remember when it comes to waiver, you have to ensure that you are able to write and send message to graduate coordinator of that school or that program that you are applying to, requesting for waiver and other stuff. For example, to Louisiana State University, I applied for a waiver, and I was told I would be granted the waiver, and I waited for the school to grant me the waiver. I mean the department rather, and it was like 2 days to the end of to the deadline. I had to go and borrow money. I had to go and borrow money and pay this this pay for the application, and thereafter the school just told me later on that sorry, we're unable to pay for the waiver. So this is my point. There's sometimes that you are very lucky, you get waiver, and that's one thing that as you have said, Bro Sam, you know, writing cold emails to professor actually help you more in that aspect. When a professor already spotted you and like see that this a potential candidate and this person is likely to be useful in my lab, most often you get some benefit, which one of them is the application fee waiver. So because there are some schools that the application uh, the application fee is over $100. Over $100. $100 right now, I think it is 610 or 615. Now, okay, and if you want to pay with your Nigeria card, there is this regulation from CBN that anything more than $100 you cannot transact with your MasterCard or your debit your credit card. So I think even some banks limited theirs to maybe $50 or something, and that's going to be in a month. So now during the time I was applying, some of my close friends would have to pay for me using their cards. So these are things, and so the code emails will be sent to the group, that's the scholarship group. So if you are yet to join that group, kindly join. I've sent the link to the group chat right now, this Zoom group chat. So I've already sent the link to the room. Do we have anyone who has joined recently after I've sent the link? Because I think someone said perhaps is unable to join. If you have been able to join, perhaps you were not on the group before, but right now you have been able to join. Can you just signify, or perhaps oh, okay, great. Someone said he's been able to join. That's so I think we are good to go. So and for the funding, sincerely, I will always say this. I would not encourage someone to come to this US if he does not have full funding. Now, I'm saying this because it is not everybody that has the capacity to fagburu. When I'm saying fagburu, I mean that you are working, like you are working so hard to ensure you pay your bills and pay your school fees. If you have partial scholarship, it may be helpful. But if you come from maybe background like me, that you have to like fetch for things yourself, or maybe your parents assisting you with the little they are able to assist you with, it will be tough. So, and that's the reason why we encouraging each and every one of the prospective applicants to go through the right route to ensure they are able to get these scholarships and funding. You can easily get admission, but you cannot easily get scholarship or funding. I could remember, I've been on this thing since 2015. I always say this, I've been on this thing since 2015. Some people would ask me like, oh, they want to try Commonwealth scholarship. I don't discourage, but most time I tell them my candid opinion. There are some scholarships that it can just be plan let me say plan Z, it should not be your plan A. For example, your Commonwealth, PTDF, bilateral, FSB, or which other one. So we have some other special bodies that funds very well, like Erasmus and all those stuff. But you know, they are highly competitive, and you see, and it's, you know, it's just like streamlined to a particular body, just one body provided a scholarship. Unlike this particular country, maybe US and Canada, whereby each institution has a way of sourcing and generating their funding themselves through government, through grants from organizations and companies, partnering with the schools and all those stuff. So that's how they generate their funding and grants. And from these grants, it's what is being used to employ, because what you are getting as a scholarship or assistantship is like employing you. So, and while you are learning, you are helping in the lab or in the program you have, they are paying you, you are learning, and you are doing your job. So it's not an easy thing. So it's just like a mutual benefit. Both of you are gaining. Your professor is getting a lot of things from you. And that's how all these things work. Oh, all right. I think I don't have to talk too much. Our next speaker is available right now. So he's going to be talking about graduate applications and the various application materials that are needed for graduate applications. So the undergraduate applications, to recap, you need your WAEC, right? You need your WAEC result, and it has to be a top notch. And you need your transcripts, and you need your standardized tests, right? Written. Like I said, there are some schools that waive that. I know of 2 schools. There are many other schools though, which when you are ready, you can search for them and all those stuff. So please start dropping your questions on the group chats.
Raphael.
Yes, sir.
I learned Michael is around.
Oh.
Michael, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, okay. So, okay, Brotosin.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we go about it?
I can present the application material.
Okay, great. So, Micah is going to present on the graduate applications and what we need to know about the graduate application. Michael, thank you for coming. It is now the room is open for you.
Okay, thank you so much. If you would permit me, I'd like to share a screen here, just a second, please. All right. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. All protocols observed. Thank you so much for such an opportunity to speak with wonderful-minded people about the graduate school application, specifically in USA. So, standing on what other presenters have spoken of, I would just add 1 or 2 things regarding the application process to graduate program abroad, using the few points I have highlighted here. So again, I'm sorry for actually joining in late. I was just coming from a meeting. So I may not have listened to what other presenters have talked about in details, but I believe we should still circle around whatever I'll be covering about this application process. So knowing fully well that you need to take your graduate record examination, you know, GRE, TOEFL, which I believe someone has also spoken about, then one thing you should understand is why you're actually preparing your portfolio together. I always encourage that at least you should have 4 schools in mind which you actually want to apply to immediately you complete your GRE score. As a matter of fact, which I believe probably someone will have stated it, that once you take your GRE test, you're given the opportunity to send your score reports to at least 4 schools for free. It has been included in the GRE fee you paid. And then thereafter, if you need to send your score reports to any other school again, you can decide to use the unofficial one, which they will send to your email. And then after you're admitted in that school, you can decide to send your official one to them. So in terms of recommending schools, I stated earlier that I would strongly recommend you try and match up the schools you want to apply to, like do a little research on schools that are actually good in your program. And then write those schools out such that when you're going for your exam, you'll be able to table those schools down, and then you can be able to send your official score reports to them. I've had situation where literally someone wrote 4 schools down and then went for the GRE, and then even after writing the GRE, he didn't even send he sent his results to those 4 schools, and then eventually later on he didn't apply to those 4 schools. So he just wasted his slots for actually applying, for actually sending his official report to those schools. So do a little research on the schools you want to apply to, and then make sure you write them out in a paper, in a little paper. You're allowed to bring that into your exam hall, and then you'll be able to impute those schools to send. And then I've always recommended, try as much as you can to apply to 5 schools at least 5 schools. I can assure you, most of the presenters here today, you never see anyone that apply to just 1 or 2 schools. Some apply to 10, some apply to 15 to 20. I've met people that apply to 30 schools. Some of them will be free and some of them will be paid application. So don't really be limited like, oh, since I'll only be going to 1 school, I'll only apply to 1 school. No, do not do that. It is not recommended. Make your net wide open and apply to as many schools as you can. And then again, advancing from your GRE test reports to sending your score, like I said earlier, you'll be given the opportunity to send your score report to 4 schools for free. However, if you need to apply to more schools, even though you're sending your official report to 4 schools, you will still be given the unofficial copy in your email. So right while you are applying to those other schools, you can upload the PDF document of the unofficial copy, upload it into the school's application when you are like applying to that particular school, which I'll be talking about in a moment. And then you should be fine with that. And then also the next thing I should also quickly emphasize or quickly point out is contacting professors. It will really help you strengthen your chances. However, there is also one thing you need to understand, that the fact that you contacted a professor, you got admitted, especially most first-year students that got admitted into the TA where you'll be teaching in the department, even if you get to talk to a professor and then you got like admitted into that school, you are not necessarily under obligation to eventually join that professor at the end of the day. I'm one of the testimony regarding that. I've been contacting a professor, and eventually when I got admitted into that program, I saw that, I think I actually like this research. I can actually collaborate with my initial professor, which I wanted to join, and then we can work together. I don't necessarily have to be my PI, but what I'm trying to say here is contacting them earlier will really, really be helpful to you. Build a communication with them. When I was applying to the Michigan State University, which I am currently, I didn't even know the application fee was free, not until I contacted the professor. So there are some internal things that are actually going on within the department that you may not be able to get full details about rather than contacting a professor. If a school wouldn't be admitting you at the same time, if they're already enlisted, if they won't be accepting students for the next year, it's until the next upper year before they admit students, you can actually get to hear that from the professor. So you don't have to start bothering yourself about, I want to apply to this school. It's unknown to you that they won't be admitting students for that particular. So contact the professor is strengthening your chances. As a matter of fact, in your SOP, before you begin your application profile, your SOP, I will also recommend that you mention at least 2 professors in that particular field. Mention them in your statement of purpose, because it's really, really strengthening your chances a lot. Mention those 2 professors and just give a little hint of what those professors have actually been doing, their research area, and why you actually intended to join them. So whoever is reading your statement of purpose among the admission committee says, oh, this student has done this. This is related to Professor so and so. That's why I mentioned Professor so and so. Then we are sure that if he gets admitted, we have a research group we'll fix him into, and then he'll be funded. So contacting those professors, bringing, like getting to know about their research, talking to them. You could even schedule a meeting with them. They are always ready. Permits me to say, professors here, they really, really like to talk. They want to talk. They want to meet you. They want to learn what you know, and they are also ready to share. They are not really bothered if you don't know anything. Don't be scared like, I don't know anything to say to this professor. I've had conversation with the professor that literally for 30 minutes, for 28 minutes, 29 minutes, it was literally the one doing the talking. So don't be scared to contact professors. Send a mail to them if you have to. If you see something that interests you about their research, send a mail to them, and then it should be fine. And then also, then the next thing is unpacking your portfolio, which is your transcripts, and then your GRE or TOEFL score report and your diploma. So the entire application process basically revolves around, after taking your GRE, which someone has stated earlier, that the next thing you need to do is, that's actually where your work begins, which has to do with the fact that you actually go to the school's portal, which you actually wanted to apply to. You go to the school portal, and then once you go to the school portal, each of the school has a graduate school, which you are actually applying through. Okay, you are not applying straight into the department. You are always, like you say, the graduate school has a middleman between yourself and the program you actually, or the department you're actually applying to. So you have to apply through the graduate schools for that particular university. So how do you apply to the graduate school? The first step is, once you're aware of the schools you want to apply to, maybe you've emailed the professor, he showed interest, and you're also interested in applying to the schools. Again, I would say I am not necessarily saying it is very, very mandatory for you to contact the professor. Because I've had schools which I actually applied and I got admitted, and even then I didn't really contact the professor then. But I would recommend it because it strengthens your chances, especially in that particular school. Okay, so once you contact them and you're sure that you want to apply to the school, the next thing you want to do is go to the school's application portal. About some questions like how do I get to the school application portal? Is maybe as little as going to Google and say graduate school application portal, University of Michigan, and then you type that, and then it pops up the first link for you, and then you click on it. It takes you to the graduate application program, the first page. It asks you to create a username and a password. So create those, and then it launches you into the form. So this is very, very synonymous to applying to post-UTME, maybe a UNILAG post-UTME or UI post-UTME in Nigeria. Just create an account to log in, and they'll start requesting for your information one after the other. It is literally something you can do yourself, sitting at the comfort of your home. You don't need an agent to start filling the form for you. It's literally something you can do. So you go to maybe Google graduate school application portal, University of Wisconsin, and then once you get there, it opens up the page, create a username and a password. Once you create a username and a password, and then it pops up the form, like you start going from one stage to another. Most likely for most schools, the first thing they always ask for is for your portfolio, like your name, where you stay, your sex and stuff like that. And then from there, they can launch into your academic portfolio that you have. They start requesting for, do you have unofficial transcripts? Upload this. Do you have your GRE? If you have not already sent your GRE reports to them, they ask you, okay, what was your GRE score? You put what you score in your quantitative, what you score in your verbal, you supply those details in there. And then also, what I mean by this point here, the diploma point here, it's your certificate. That's generally what they call diploma here, your undergraduate certificate. For most schools here, I've literally not had anyone in which they requested for my secondary school certificate. So it's usually your university certificate and stuff like that. So upload your transcript if you have the unofficial copy with you. And then again, it's wise not to send the official transcripts to a school if the school is not necessarily requesting for it. Okay, like I said, you have like 15 schools on an average. You want to apply to 10 schools. You can't be sending your official transcripts to each of those 10 schools. Okay, it's gonna cost you a lot of money. So just get one unofficial copy with you. Keep uploading it to each of those schools' website. And then once you get admitted and you are certain of which one you want to go, then you can see request that your official transcript is sent to them. Okay, so your transcript and then your GRE score report, which I said you also have a soft copy with you in your email. Okay, you can download the PDF copy and then also upload it, or you type it manually in the application window. And then the next thing they also ask for you is your diploma. If you have then your undergraduate certificate, which is a proof that you actually completed the program. So the request for those. And then thereafter, besides those three things which they majorly request for, every other thing they request for, you definitely know that the schools you went to, what year did you start, what year did you end the program, your undergraduate program and stuff like that. So you can literally fill in those ones in yourself. Okay. And then applying to the graduate program through the graduate school, I think probably this point should have been highlighted before this particular point, before bringing it in here. So like I said, you do not necessarily apply to the chemistry department or the biological science department. You have to go through the school. You have to go through the graduate school. Even if admitted into the program, the department may only hint you. They may just hint you that, okay, we'll be admitting into the program. The final sending of your official letter still has to come through the graduate school. So everything you are doing now, you are doing it through the graduate school. Of course, if you are contacting a professor, you don't need to do that through the graduate school. You don't need to inform a graduate school, hey, I want to contact one of your professors. You don't need that. So contact professors, talk to anybody in the department, but the application process, let it go through the graduate school. And again, I would emphasize again, how do you get to the graduate school portal? As little as going to the Google graduate school application portal, University of Michigan or University or Cornell University, pops up the link, click on it, it takes you to the page directly. Most times, actually in the page, sometimes you will see they will give you some details at the bottom of the form. Again, they will tell you, okay, these are the things we will need before you start applying. Make sure you have this document, like your transcript, your certificate and stuff like that. And then they will also tell you the minimum score, which they actually require. You get, so all of those things that will be stated on the page. So just create a username and password and then start filling the form. On an average, if you have a stable internet and you are consistent in your work, on an average, a maximum of 2 days, you should be done with an application process. You get, 2 days is even much. If you are consistent with it within 1 hour, 30 minutes, and just focus your attention on it, give it all it takes. You've written your SOP before, you can basically complete an application within 2 hours. You give your attention and focus to it. Okay, and then then after they've requested for your transcripts, your GRE and your test report, at the tail end of the application process, most times they usually require that you supply your recommender details. Okay, supply your recommender details, but in supplying your recommender details, I would also tell you that please, again, only a very, very few percentage of schools in the United States will ask you to upload your recommendation letter from the professor. They prefer the recommendation letter coming from an official email of whoever you want to use, maybe your undergraduate supervisor and whoever you want to use. So if you're supplying a recommender, maybe your undergraduate supervisor, at least they require for most PhD program, they require 3 recommenders. Okay, try as much as you can, if it's possible for you, try as much as you can to make sure that at least 2 of them are coming from someone in academia. Okay, maybe one which is your supervisor. It doesn't have to be. And then second one, also a professor or a doctor in your department or in another department. Yes, it doesn't have to be your department. It can be in another department. Okay, so your recommendation letter, at least 2 from academia, and then 1 other, maybe your boss at your current place of work, your supervisor, or someone can also write that record. But make sure that it is someone whose position carries power. You get, because those really, really matters a lot. And if you can get 3 people in academia to submit recommendation for you, that is absolutely perfect. Okay, so they ask you for the details of those recommenders, but please make sure you have built a strong relationship with those recommenders before. A friend of mine that we are in this same school together, He has been applying since 2019, but he didn't get it until like 2022. He eventually got to know later that it was his recommendation letter that cost him several deniers. Like those professors were not saying something good about him. You get. Most times, if a professor doesn't know you, they may not really want to vouch for you because they are also putting their reputation on the line. So that's why it's strongly recommended that make sure you have someone like a professor. Your undergraduate supervisor should be your first to go to. Should be your first go to because at least you have related with that person for a good amount of time, and then also maybe someone or a doctor or a professor also in your department that you have taken his or her course, and you know that this person at least knows you to a good extent. So you can use such people as your recommender. Do not necessarily bother those people too much. I've had recommended that it is not until 1 month later, that's when they will submit their recommendation letter for my behalf. Just keep sending a reminder once in a while. You don't need to bother them. They also have their own family issues or stuff to deal with. Okay, so recommendation letter, make sure it is someone that can vouch for you, someone you know, and then you will not necessarily be able to see those recommendations. Some of our professors in Nigeria, they require that, okay, draft what you want me to submit for you, and then I'll just copy what you sent to me, put it on a letterhead, and upload it for you straight. That's very much welcome. As a matter of fact, that's what most of those applications, most of those of my professors, what they do, okay, draft what you want, send it to me. I'll just, if I need to edit anything, I will edit it and then I'll put it on letterhead and so on. So you can have a template with you, okay? I'm sure we have enough. If you want some, I can send you some. And we also have from the admins that are here, we also have a lot of template of recommendation letter we can provide. You can send it to your recommender. You just glance if it's okay. They paste it and they put it on letterhead and they submit it for you. So that is also part of the application process. Like when you're filling the form, they ask for your test scores, for the schools you went to, for the diploma you had, whatever certificate you have. If you have any other professional certifications, please include it. You never can tell. It may be one thing, one little certificate that will differentiate. I'm not necessarily saying you should put your SAID, NYSC SAID certificate. You don't have to put all of that. You don't have to put what you did in your SAID, in NYSC and stuff like that. Or if you do some computation, some data programming online, some data science programming online or stuff, you never can tell. It may be very, very obvious. It may be one thing that will distinguish you from another student which they were considering. Okay, so just put all of those in there. When you're uploading this transcript, your GRE report, and your certificate, there is always an option. There is always an option for you to submit additional documents. They'll ask you, do you have any additional documents you want to upload? You can click on additional documents, keep uploading those documents as much as you want. You get, so it's really, really be helpful to you too. And then at the tail end, they'll request for your recommender details. Put your recommender's email address there. The one that carries more weight is their official email. For example, I finished from FUNAB. Then you say, okay, adewi.sherif@funab.edu.ng. If it's Yahoo, adewi@yahoo.com, they may sometimes think it is forged. Most of them doesn't necessarily look at that, but it's recommended that you use request for your supervisor or whoever you want to use as a recommender. Request for their official email, the email associated with their school account, and use that, supply that. Sometimes they request for their phone number. It is not that they will call them. But if you don't have their phone number, it's totally fine. Just make sure you supply their email because that is the way they are going to contact them. Okay, and then the next thing you have to do is once you have completed the application, you have to wait. Okay, and then I can't remember, maybe it's Bayo or someone was saying just a few minutes ago, like those admissions, some of them come with funding, some don't even come with funding. And then he specifically emphasized that you should not try coming here without funding. It is not recommended at all. It is not recommended at all. It will be a very, very big punishment if a school admits you into a PhD program and doesn't fund you. How do they want you to get the fund to pay for the school fees and stuff like that? So if you have a school that is admitting you and then they are not yet funding, just keep pestering them, send them emails. If they still say that they do not want to give you funding, please, I will tell you, consider other options. That was what I was recommending in my first point, that do not apply to one school, okay? Make your options very, very wide. At least, okay, they do 5 schools and then go and that above. If 5 schools, all the 5 schools give you admission and funding, glory to God. You pick the specific one you know you would like to be at. Okay, so most schools, when they give you funding and then when they give you admission and they want to consider you for funding, I'll just quickly chip in this before I move on. Most schools, you do not need to apply for funding separately. Once you are filling the form online, once you have created your username and password and you are filling the form, I think also towards the end, they will ask you, would you like to be considered for funding? Some schools do that, some schools don't even bother. So they automatically know that you need funding for the PhD. Once you just highlight the box that, oh yeah, sure, I need funding, they will automatically consider if funding is available. So don't think that, oh, will I have to go back to the school portal again and start applying for funding in another profile? Only a very, very, very few number of schools do that. So most schools, they consider it alongside with their admission. So that's why some of those schools, when they are giving you admission, for example, they will also state the funding in it directly. Okay, so please keep that in mind when you are filling the form. As I say, you also need focus when you are filling those forms. Make sure you understand what each point is. If you do not understand, you can contact any of the admin here, just snap it and they'll be glad to provide any response to you. Okay, so please consider funding. Do not necessarily consider a school that is not providing you with funding. Even if it's 50% funding, it's still something, but it will still be challenging, okay, for you to be able to cope very well. Okay, so please always look out for funding, very, very important. And then wait. You can complete application in December, which is the deadline for most schools' early bird application. Like, this is even a season to start preparing for your GRE. As a matter of fact, if you are not yet taking it, start preparing for your GRE. Let's say 3 or 4 months time, maybe around October, you write your GRE. Once you do your GRE in October, for November and December, start applying to schools. At least cover 70% of the application. So once you do that, like November, December, because for early bird, most schools closes their early application December 15. Now, it does not mean that above December 15, they won't still accept application. It's just that it is kind of like, just see it as a first come, first half basis, okay? Submit your early application before December 15. If there is funding, you'll be the first to be considered before any other person, okay? Some schools even push their, they say accept application even to like February, okay? Then if you have submitting an application around February, it does not mean that you may not get admission, but they won't really put you on priority list like that compared to someone that submitted an application in December. So start preparing for your GRE now by September, October, take your GRE. October, November, December, you're using it to firing up your applications and then just relax. And then once you're done, I pointed here that you need to wait. You do not just submit application today and the next week you expect admission. They sit through this thing, they do meeting on who they want to admit. So it literally takes on an average 2 months. Okay, on an average 2 months. So for like February, March of the following year, that is when admission will start coming out, you start receiving. You may even be sleeping one day, you weren't even expecting anything, and then just the mail just comes in, you've been admitted, fully funded offer, and it comes in. And then once one pops into your mail, you'll be amazed how the rest will just start coming into at the same time, and then you even be confused at some point that which one do I want to choose for. It is better to be confused of which one you want to choose than not to even have any at all. Okay, so make your nest wide open, apply to many schools. Once you apply, complete your application as early as possible, and then relax, wait. You can be working while you are doing those wait periods so that you won't really focus your attention on it, because then your back doctors say some of these things in that eliminate like attention that I've not even had from this. Like, don't really put so much of mind in it. Just make sure you completed the application at the due time. You can still be doing some side also while you are doing that, but just relax, give them time. Once you see that it's getting too late, wait till maybe around April, May, and you haven't had anything from the school, then you can mail them that, what's up, I haven't had anything from you guys. Then they will let you know what is up, but you have to wait. It is also a game of patience, so don't be in a hurry. And then I think this is one of the, if not the last point. And then after admission, like I said, you then need to send your official score report, like your official transcript, official GRE, if you have not sent official to them first. Your GRE day, once you take your exam, like I said, you'll be allowed to send your result to 4 schools for free if you choose. Okay, so those 4 schools you sent it to, they are regarded as official reports. It will be official to them. Okay, the one which you apply, which you have to be the one to upload yourself as a PDF, it is unofficial. So once you're admitted to that school and then you finally decide that, okay, this is the school I'm going. If you're admitted to 10 schools, it does not mean you need to send your official report to those 10 schools. You will only need to send your official reports to the school you have finalized that you keep going. Okay, don't also be scared that these 10 schools back from the admission. Won't they be looking for me? Yes, like where am I? Why did I go to this? Don't be bothered. That's why you make yourself wide open. You also want the best offer. So you go for the schools that definitely want to give you the best offer. Do not, even the whites that are here, hardly will you see them apply to one schools. They make their net wide open. So don't be feeling like, won't there be conflict of my record or something? No, you shouldn't, you wouldn't have any problem with that. Okay. So after you have been admitted, you can send your official score reports to them, to the school, just only one to the school you actually decide to be going to, and then your official transcript also to them, and then I can push in from there. Okay, and then yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have to show today. So I'll be glad to welcome any question that anyone has. You can post it in the chat box, or you can private message any of the admins, and I'll be sure to address it. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for having you here once again. Wow. It's you have been able to cover a lot of things just within this few time. Thank you very much for your time. So like we said earlier, the question and answer is going to be at the end of all presentation, so that we can have like the major part of this webinar, which is the presentation, uploaded, and at the end we are able to have time to accommodate all questions. So before we proceed to application packet to number 3, before we proceed, so I just want to make some important definitions, because on the chat box, I think some people don't really get the terminologies. So I just want to quickly go over some few ones. Yeah, the first one is waiver. Waiver, WAIVER. So it is actually called application fee waiver. Now, for example, let's say you want to apply to a university in Nigeria. You always pay for post-JAMB, right? So that's your application to that school. So that is the application fee. So for each school in the US that you want to apply to, it comes with an application fee that you have to pay some amount of dollars. So, but some schools actually give waiver. Waiver means that it covers your application fee for that period. Some schools actually remove it maybe from your payments or allow you to pay later when you get admission, while some schools just waive it completely and you do not have to pay at all. So that is what waiver means, that it allows you to submit your application without making payments. And there, for different schools and for different programs, there are ways of applying for waiver. So, and that's application fee waiver. We have GRE waiver, we have TOEFL waiver, we have some other things waiver. So the word waiver is just a general terminology, just like allow you to bypass some protocols. So, and cold email, I think we should understand right now what cold email means, right? The email you send to professors or maybe to graduate coordinator to present yourself and your profile, to show to them that you are a good candidate, and and requesting for some information, and for them to see, just like presenting yourself in a proper way. Are you getting it? So like we said, all questions will be answered. So you know what funding is. So the other thing is SOP. SOP means statements of purpose. Like, why are you applying to this school? Or why are you applying to this program? So, and each school or each program has its own format, or okay, don't let me say format right now. Let me say things that they want you to incorporate into that your SOP. Most SOP, the general format contains your background, where you come from, your educational background, your experience, whether research or work experience or industrial experience, and all those stuff, and your academic background. Are you getting me? And your purpose. Why do you choose this course? Why are you applying to this course? What's your future goal or ambition or career pursuit? Why did you choose this school? And others? These are things that must be in this statement of purpose. So another word for it can as well be personal statement. Though sometimes there are some schools that you may have statement of purpose and personal statement. Another one can be research statement. So like a statement of research, perhaps the research you want to do or you intend doing, or and most often it includes your research background, like maybe some past research that you have done. So you want to showcase that, okay, you have research background, so you have done this before, so you want to go for this, and that your background, your research background coupled with your academic background will help you to succeed in this particular research that you are going into. And so we have recommendation letters. Recommendation letters, they are letters from your maybe supervisors, your professor in school, or your teacher, if you are applying for undergraduate program, right? Or your principal or your HOD. So, or your boss at work. That's maybe employer's recommendation. And as the speaker has said, most schools require you to submit like 2 to 3 recommendation letters. Some actually more, but always ensure that out of these 3, minimum of 2 comes from academic recommenders, like your professor or teacher, your HOD, and other stuff. There are even some schools that they are very, very strict and specific. They want professor. That means all of them must be academics. So that is it. And so your research, you know what research is and all those stuff. So the one of other important thing, if you are applying for, if you intend applying, you know that your first this thing is to get your what's it called, your passport, your international passport. So if there's anyone on this platform and right now you don't have international passports, I don't know. That's one other thing. Another thing is erase every Japa mindset from you. Can you all hear me? Erase every Japa mindset. Because what Japa mindset does to you is that it puts unnecessary pressure and emotion upon you. And this will not help you to prepare yourself very well. Or else you will only be moved by emotions and your immediate surrounding. So erase this Japa mentality, or rather focus on what you intend becoming and what you want to achieve. That is how you can win. But if you want to come to US through academics, and the only thing about your mindset right now is just to Japa and also, it won't work that way. So GRE, what GRE means is graduate record examination. It's for graduate applicants, it's for graduate schools. So it is the standardized test that you have to write if you are applying to graduate programs like masters, MBA, PhD. Some MBA, most of them might require you to write GMAT instead. So we have SAT and ACTs for undergraduates. Another thing is SOA. So if you are hearing all this terminology, SOA might mean statement of account. So now I open the floor for Bro Tosin, I think I'm done right now. I open the floor for Bro Tosin. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bro Raphael, and good evening, good morning, wherever you are. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right, I believe you can all see my screen. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about, can you guys see my screen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about the application materials or package. So I'll try as much as possible not to repeat information because most of the things I'm going to be covering here has been said in previous presentation. So I'll just focus on like few things that I feel are important for you to know. So before we start, I just like to share this few tweets with you guys. So this is a tweet. The job interviewer says, it says on your resume that you went to Cambridge University. Yeah, I was visiting my sister. Okay. So the second tweet is, how would you write, I changed a light bulb on your resume? And the response is, single-handedly managed the successful upgrade and deployment of new environmental illumination system with zero cost overruns and zero safety incidents. So this might sound a little bit, funny or a little bit unusual, but I want us to approach, your graduate application with this kind of mindset. Like you have to be able to represent yourself in a very elevated way. You have to be able to market yourself well. And this comes from you using like very strong words and present yourself in a way that like they will be like, wow, we really want to have this guy in our school. So there are various ways to do that, which I'll try to share some, and I probably hope some of you are familiar with some of those strong words to use whenever you are applying. So at the end of this session, you'll be able to develop a personal from your life experience. You should be able to develop an academic CV. You should be able to compose a statement of purpose or maybe a generic application essays from your personal. And I'll talk a little bit about getting a letter of recommendation. I believe Michael has done a lot of justice on that, but I'll just brush over it a little bit. And probably you should be able to navigate the complexity of assembling your application material as well. So moving on to the next slide. So let's imagine a character, let's call him Dele. Dele is an average guy. Probably he has a weird moment in his life, but couldn't recall. He attended a 4 or 5 year university engineering, science or arts program. And he probably has a course he likes. He might do well in the course or he might not do well in that course. He has an average GPA, probably second class upper or lower. He's probably in his final year or he's currently serving or he has a couple of years of experience and is about to or is currently or have written a final year project. Plus, he probably has an average rapport with his project supervisor or HOD. And he was probably in one student organization group, maybe a fellowship, or probably he was able to participate in few extracurricular or volunteering experience. And he's probably about to write or has written a standardized test, and he probably got an average score of like 300 plus. And he has a few schools in mind, or he's still exploring, and maybe he's planning to request his academic transcript. And he's probably attending this webinar and he's thinking about jumping into like 1 or 2 extracurricular or volunteering activity. So I believe some of us can identify with this guy. We just have that average. We came from an average household, average lifestyle, average GPA. A lot of things about us are just average, which is pretty much normal. So this session would actually help you, look at this average profile from another perspective, which would help you make your profile more competitive. So here's a big picture of the application. I was about to talk about the graduate application before Michael came in, but I feel I need to leave this right here so you guys can just go through it. I won't talk too much about it, but this should give a very good timeline of what you need to do at a particular point in time. So one thing I need to emphasize as well is there's a lot of information flying around and it might be a little bit overwhelming. So I don't want you to be too overwhelmed with this information. It's fine if you don't know the meaning, it's fine. Just for now, just absorb it. And at each point, you should be able to focus on what you need to know about the requirements at that particular process. For example, if you are just planning to write your GRE, your focus right now is just write your GRE. And maybe you might be planning to maybe research some few schools, but your focus should just be your GRE. Maybe after writing your GRE, there you decide, okay, you want to start applying to schools and you want to start writing your SOP. Then you can shift your focus to learning more about what SOP is, what letter of recommendation is, or things like that. So each stage has its own requirement. So just feel free to focus on what you need to know at that stage. While it's possible to think ahead and to get some materials ahead of time, like your international passport or your transcript, or to inform your supervisor that you would like to pursue a master's or a PhD program, so that he is well informed that, okay, this guy would at some point ask me to submit some form of letter. So it's nice to also put all those things in mind. Yeah, moving on to the application materials, I'll just go through it really fast. You know that you need your international passport and you need maybe 1 or 2 standardized tests. Even some schools are probably starting to waive some of those tests, but I'll put it there for completeness. So the second one is you would need your official or unofficial academic transcript. I would recommend you should have your unofficial for now. Your unofficial is just your student copy. Yeah, that's the unofficial. And you might need your WASSCE evaluated transcript as well. But it's fine if you don't know the meaning, feel free to ask after the session. We will be happy to answer your question. And the third material you need is your academic CV. The fourth, statement of purpose, SOP. And the fifth, you need 2 or 3 letters of recommendation, in which at least 2 should be academic letter of recommendation. What I mean by academic is a letter of recommendation that comes from your professor or your lecturer, or either of those 2. And maybe 1 non-academic, and this can be from your boss if you already have some years of experience. Like some of you might have left school for maybe 2-3 years. Now you're not working, and you might have your boss might be able to provide one, or your ex-boss, or someone you have worked with outside of your school. And the last one is application or scholarship essays. It's optional. Some schools usually ask for additional essays in their applications, mostly top schools. And some schools will ask you to write some essays so that they should consider you for some scholarship opportunities. So it's kind of optional. So I'll just talk about academic CV real quick. Your academic CV should have your name, your email, links to your professional or social media pages if you post things that are really great. So the links that I'm talking about are like your GitHub page or your LinkedIn page or your Medium page if you write a lot. There's a lot of various portfolio websites depending on your field of study. So feel free to put it there. And most people usually put their personal statements on their CV. I actually have a bias about it, but it's fine to have a personal statement, most especially if you have a very cool profile, like you're like, maybe you're like featured in 30 under 30 list of influential young adults, things like that. It's fine to just put it there. But yeah, it's fine to like have 1 or 2 sentences in your personal statement. Then followed by your education, your professional affiliations, such as IEEE, ICANN, and so on, or groups you joined in school. Then after your education, you should have your relevant courses based on the program you plan to apply to. Then you should have your publication or conferences as well on your CV. Then followed by your skills, probably 4 to like 10 core skills. If those skills are too much, you can try to group them. For example, if you have a couple of like graphic skills, you can group them into Canva, Photoshop, Unity, all those softwares. Or if you're into like programming, you can group those languages into just a single line, C, C++, Java, Python, and so on. So to save space. Then after your skill, you should have your relevant experience as well. Make sure in your relevant experience, make sure you are able to use action verbs to describe your role, and make sure you have quantifiable impact. Please mark the word quantifiable impact. If you remember that suite I showed you, you could see 0 cost overrun, 0 overhead. Make sure you're able to quantify what you did in whatever experience you have. Maybe in your role, you were able to like help 100 people or 20 people to be able to like do things faster, be able to like say, okay, I was able to increase the time efficiency of over 20 employees by working X number of hours to do this or that. So that makes it to have more impact. And again, this should be like a guide to whatever you plan to engage in. Make sure it has impact, like very big impact. Make sure, and the impact I'm talking about is the numbers. If you're able to like measure it, it really looks great. And make sure you have your achievements or your accomplishments in your CV as well. So maybe around 3 to 4 bullet points should be fine under each experience. Then after your experience, maybe you have a couple of awards or scholarships or accomplishments, you can also add it as well. Then after that, you can add some extracurricular or voluntary activities or leadership position that you've held. I could see some people here like, I know some of us probably held some positions in fellowship or student organization. So this is where you feel free to put all those things there. Maybe you are a secretary in your student organization or the president in a fellowship, feel free to put it there. And if you really made a very significant impact, you can also add like 2 or 3 bullet list of things you achieved while occupying that position. And if you're just a member as well, it's fine to put just member, like member of JCI or member of SRC or member of some kind of committee in your school. So lastly, you should have your projects or articles. You can list them. If they are too much, you can add like 2 or 3 sentences describing what the project is all about. So we can all now, tying this up to like our personal daily, you should be able to like come up with some few things that could plug into one of these areas. So Daily probably went to school, Daily probably did maybe a CWS or an IT, maybe Daily probably is serving and is working in his PPA. That means he has like 2 experiences. Maybe Dele was in his fellowship and he was in the music group and probably held one or two positions. It's fine to like put some of those things there. Maybe Dele from his final year project, he now decided that maybe he should contact his supervisor and ask if he could convert that project to a journal paper. So that is an opportunity to like have one publication under his name. So I think we can all now start fitting all those pieces together. So I just have this little description of how a CV should look like. So connecting the previous slide with this, you should be able to like arrange your CV in this format. And feel free to move things around as well. There's really no wrong or right way on how to write a CV. I would encourage you to like read or check so many samples. There's a lot of templates and samples online. Check it and look for the one that works for you. But one thing I would just like to note is that you don't want to make your CV to be too graphical, or you don't want to have color riots in your CV. A simple text and simple design is fine. Then moving on to statement of purpose. Let me check the time. Okay, I have some minutes. Moving on to statement of purpose. So what is the statement of purpose? It is just a document that tells the admission committee why they should admit you to their department. That is all. There's a lot of things that go into the SOP, which should probably make you stand out, because most in schools, we have 500 to like 1,000 applications per department, and you have these professors, going through these applications, one after the other. Like your SOP is actually the most important document, and it should be very catchy, like very catchy. So which means your SOP should contain some few things that would really make these guys to remember you whenever they are trying to like make a decision. So they might just say, oh, there's this guy that wrote something about him, maybe doing something like this and that. Like those things will make them remember your application and be able to consider you. More information, I'll probably talk more about that later. And important question to answer while writing your SOP is who you are, what do you want to study, what have you done so far in the field of your choice, and why do you want to study in this field, and why do you want to study in this university as well. If you're able to answer those questions, then you should be able to come up with a very good SOP. The who are you question is just like, what drives you? What is your motivation? What actually triggered your decision to study what you are studying right now? Or why do you think you like the course you find the most interesting in your department? Like there's always a why behind to it, and it takes time to actually discover this why. It takes like so many meditation, retrospection to actually come up with this reason. I look at it as an onion where you have to like peel each layer off. Maybe you're in one department and you can ask yourself, why are you in this department? Probably they just gave you the admission. You can also ask yourself, okay, why did you like this course? Then you can start digging deep into those whys, into those whys. Maybe it's because you lost a loved one, or maybe it's because you are frustrated with a situation in your life, or maybe because something around you doesn't just feel right and you feel you need to fix it. Then you can start digging deep into those core reasons. And this slide, I just have so most schools, in their statement of purpose, they would ask you for some specific questions that they need you to answer in your SOP. So I have like few examples right here, but one thing is common among SOP. They just wanted to write who you are, what have you done at this point that has prepared you for a master's degree or a PhD? What have you done in the past? What are your accomplishments? What courses have you taken? What are your achievements? They just want to know why you actually decide to pursue a master's or a PhD. They also want to know your long-term goals, your short-term goal, and they want to know why you picked them as well. Please, let's just put that in mind. So you can, looking at these 4 examples, you can literally write one and apply it to all of them. You just make sure that you follow the instructions. Some of them are usually around 500 to 1,000 words. And make sure you just answer those questions they ask in the questions. Looking at this one, you can see speak about your qualities, your experience as a student, or speak about your career goals. You can see some keywords there, description of your past accomplishments. Let me put on my laser pointer. You can see include a description of your past accomplishments that are not evident from your examination or other documents you've submitted. And so I'd like to tie this back to your CV. So remember in your CV, I said you should have your relevant experience. Maybe some of you have some unrelevant experience. This is a perfect place to put those unrelevant experience, most especially if you feel you have some transferable skills that you think might be helpful in your program. And these transferable skills are mostly soft skills like communication skills or leadership skills or creative thinking, strategic thinking. Soft skills are mostly transferable and hard skills are hardly transferable. Moving on to the next. So it's a basic structure of an SOP should start with an hook or a quote or a philosophy. It is very important to have that. Maybe a story about when you were a kid, something happened. That might sound cliche, but I believe most of us have unique stories, and there's a way you can add it that would actually make your SOP memorable. I would encourage you read a lot of sample SOPs, read a lot, then gain inspiration from those samples, then select 1 or 2 that fit your writing style. Then you should be able to have a picture of how to think through it. So you should be able to, your SOP should start with a hook or a quote or a philosophy. Then after that one, it is followed by a background or your academic background or any other relevant background. Then after that, it should be followed with the specific classes you've taken or your area of interest, then your publication. Then after that, it should be followed with your stories about your accomplishments, your projects. And I have this acronym, STARC. It is derived from the STAR method. The full meaning, S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, R stands for result, and C stands for challenge. So anything you are trying to pass across, maybe you want to say that you are an innovative thinker, then you want to give an example, and that example should probably be a situation. What was the situation? Then what was the task? Maybe your boss asked you to do 1 or 2 things. And what were the actions you took? Maybe you had to execute those tasks using some set of actions. And what was the result? Was it a successful one or not successful? After that, you should be able to talk about the challenge or conclusion. For example, you can say, oh, it was really difficult to be able to navigate this situation and this task, but I was able to do action 1, 2, 3, and I was able to apply an innovative thinking, creative. I was able to apply my creative mind to think in an innovative way to solve this problem. And the next one should be addressing of any bad grade or red flag in your application. Probably you have like a D or an F in some course that you feel is important. You should be able to address why it is so. Maybe you were sick during the exam. Maybe you had a family emergency during that time. It will give them a context of, okay, he had F, but I think he has explained why he had F in that course. So it won't alter your application. Then lastly, you should be able to like talk about your long-term career goal or your life goal, why you choose this program. And while you're doing that, you mentioned 2 or 3 professors that spiked your interest. So Michael has actually talked about all those things, so I wouldn't repeat most of this information. And after you've have the structure, you should be able to come up with a draft, clean up and refine it, then send it to people to proofread, then keep refining even after submitting your application, keep refining your SOP for subsequent applications. And this is how it should look like: your hook, your background, classes, projects, activities, and so on. Tying this back to daily, we should be able to like come up with some few stories about daily that would fit into one of these categories. Let me just move on really fast. So the last one is, or second to the last one is letter of recommendation. Who can be your referee? As Michael said, your project supervisor should be your one like surest recommender, followed by your HOD. Your HOD is kind of obligated to write one letter for you, and maybe any other lecturer or professor that you've worked with. Your current or previous boss as well can be your recommender. And when is the right time to reach out? As soon as possible, just to inform them that, oh, I'll be writing, I'll be applying for some schools, and just want to inform you that I'll be needing you to like submit a letter for me. And you should be able to educate them on the process if they are not familiar with it. But I believe most of them are pretty much familiar with it. They've written it to like maybe several students in the past, so they have a way of how to go about it. So they will tell you what they need from you. Maybe they will ask you to send your CV and ask you to like send some list of things that you've done. Sometimes they ask you to send a draft, and I believe Michael has really talked about that. So make sure you send your CV and make sure you send a simple draft. So I also have this question that your recommender should actually answer in his letter, like how he or she met you or how he noticed you, why he or she is qualified to provide the recommendation, instances of your activities that you've done that he or she is aware of. Maybe he or she was aware that you were a president in an organization, and he was kind of aware of what you've done. He can also add it to the letter as well, like, oh, Dele was a president in his organization, and during his time, I could see that he was proactive. He was able to drive a lot of changes, implement a lot of policies. He was able to do A, B, and C, and everything was just great. So it's fine to have those instances of those things that you've done that he or she is aware of, and he or she should be able to like say some extracurricular activities that demonstrate your leadership skills or your soft skills. And this little snapshot is a quick guide that I sent to my recommender back then. They actually asked me to like list some things that I've done, and I also have a draft after this snapshot, but I just want to share this quick guide so that it will give you a big picture of what they should include. And this should help you as well whenever you are formulating your draft. So your letter of recommendation looks like an SOP, but in this case, you're going to be using a third person pronoun. So instead of saying I did this, you should be able to use a word like he did this, or she did this, or Dele did this, or Femi did this. So just make sure you use all those third person pronouns. So the last one is application essays. I really don't have much about these application essays or scholarship essays. What I just feel is that the purpose of it is some schools require some of these essays for further screening or funding or scholarship consideration. And the structure is generally similar to SOP. If you are able to knock off your SOP, then you should be able to really write any essays you want. The major thing to note is that just allow your uniqueness to shine through the essays. Make sure you start with a story or a hook. Then you can now move on to like answering the questions they ask you to answer in the essay. So I believe that is all. And thank you so much for listening. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Wow, wow,
Excellent,
wow,
excellent,
wow, wow,
excellent.
wow, wow. This is great. I didn't even know that what Brotosin is actually presenting has covered everything I said earlier. So it's just like maybe for running him anyway. Well, thank you, Brotosin. This is really deep, and like you really took your time to do justice to each of these things. So guys, you know, I had to start chatting up some people to like, hey guys, where are you? This part of the webinar is very, very important that you're supposed to have joined earlier. And well, I'm glad that some actually joined while Brotosin was presenting, and some people were unable to join. And the reason for that is there have been some questions sent to me personally, and even on the scholarship group concerning some specific areas of application. And you know, so these are the areas that Brotosin has actually has done justice to. So if you have questions as regards the application process and everything we are talking about here, just feel free. At the end of this last session, there's one session more. At the end of this session, I know we have exceeded the time, but I actually believe it's worth it. I believe it's worth it. So please, not to waste much of our time, Bro Samuel or Washer? Bro Samuel?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So not to waste much of our time, just
Yeah.
the floor is open unto you. Thank you very much.
Come in. Give me a moment to share my screen, please. All right. Can you see my screen? Everybody.
Oh yeah.
All right. So first of all, I want to quickly, quickly share something. So I found this thing, someone sent it to me today. I found it really, really fun. And I want to talk about this first because I know a lot of people have spoken about like sending emails to professors and all of those things, right? And then I think one of those things that happen is when we try to send cold emails to people, for instance, we see, I know that a lot of Nigerians lie about a lot of stuff. Again, just like Tosin was saying the other time, talking about how you should all try to like, package yourself very well, talk about the things you've done, like when you're changing a bulb, put it in a very, very good way and sell yourself. But some people go to the extent of like saying very, very unrealistic stuff. So if you can read this was a response from a professor to a student from Nigeria who was trying to join our group. And then I think she did mention something like she's proficient in vocals, whatever instrument. And then this person replies and says, Thank you for your interest in my group and in whatever chemistry research. I unfortunately do not have any available funded positions in my group for 2022-23 start date. As far as I know, there are no focus instruments in Nigeria. How do you have experience using this rare and expensive instrument? All the best with your future career. The truth is, this person, what? What did you say?
I said the lecturer did not even give the person opportunity to like maybe like
so what happens at times is like they check your CV and they see all of these things. In your CV, you don't have any experience that actually points that you've left the country before or something. It's just like, for instance, me saying that, sending an email and telling someone, yeah, I have proficiency in analyzing SACs and SANS data, or I have proficiency in running SACs experiment and SACs. There's no one singular neutron facility in Nigeria or synchrotron in Nigeria. Where on earth would I have found it if I'm claiming that I studied in Nigeria and I had all of my experiences in Nigeria? If you understand what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. So exactly, let's just be careful about when you're packaging yourself, just package yourself with sense. Don't write some rubbish that will just put you in a bad light. So yeah, that's first. Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to do this in a very, very haphazard way, because usually if you want to do this yourself too, that's the same way you're going to go about it. So I'm going to be sharing my, okay, let's stop again, I guess. So what I want to do is just to take you through, at least this is one thing I've done that I did for myself when I was trying to do this. And I hope it works for people. But again, first of all, I would like to say that there is no one way to actually get funding in the United States, at least according to my own experience. And I believe that Tosin, Michael, Raphael, Samuel, everybody here would agree with me. While for some people, code emails have worked, like for me, it didn't work. For some people, it did work. For some people, they really do not have like the GPA qualifications that some other people have. And if you look at, merely looking at their profile, you can just say that, oh, this person cannot even get into a graduate program or even get any sort of funding. But yet there are people who have other things that have complemented whatever level of degree they have at that point and have helped them out. Like for instance, we were all here the last time. I don't know if you're all here, but yeah, when Brosipasi was talking, and he did mention the fact that he didn't write GRE, he didn't write TOEFL, and also he actually also left the Nigeria with a third class, if you remember, although he did have a master's degree, but yeah. His funding and admission acceptance into the program was solely based on his ability to network and to sell himself properly. So again, there's no one way to go about this stuff. Most of the times, what I say is that application packet is all the admission committee actually would always most times look at your application package in an holistic manner. Like they cannot just say, oh, okay, this person has a first class, so because you have first class, you are joined. Nah. Again, I know Michael definitely knows about this. There was this person I applied to LSU together with that I know very well in the same group. Now, I'm not saying this to mock him, but I'm just using that as an example. We did apply to LSU together, but yet it was not accepted. And yet he had the first class. And I actually did not leave my school with the first class, obviously. Although I did have a 4.0, but yeah, that was not the first class anyway. So if you do understand my point here is that irrespective of what your profile looks like right now, I would advise that look for your strengths. If you can amplify your strength properly, just do that too. And it's all by God's grace and actually also the effort you can put in. Like Roshegun said the other time, he did say that at times this can be a full-time job. And yes, for a lot of us, it was a full-time job. And for some people, they were just lucky enough to be able to find themselves in situations where they found themselves. So I'm just going to take you through how to find schools yourself and how to find, maybe try to somewhat in a way rank your profile, just rank yourself according to what you think you have at the moment and see what schools you can apply to. I'm not saying that this is a cast in stones. For instance, there are people who, even with a second class upper, could still get into an Ivy League school. But in our case, in this scenario, I'm just going to be talking about an ideal situation and does not really apply to everybody anyway. So I like this website. I think I'll be sharing. Let me put it in the chat real quick. I've shared this before a lot of time. Just going to put it here again in the chat. So this website is an MS in US website. And it just says something about profile evaluation for masters or PhD in USA. And then if you look here, the first thing you see is actually ranking yourself based on your GRE score. I do know a lot of people have already spoken about GRE and we already know what it's about. And I know that a lot of people think that it's not really, they are always seeking out for like exam wave, test waivers and all of those things. It is good to look for them. But again, I do say that if you can, just do it. If you think you can do it, just do it. I'm not saying you can't get into the program or you cannot get funding without writing this exam, but it is it makes you competitive, if that makes any sense. It makes you competitive. So yeah. So according to this, if you check the website, it's quite easy to use. You can see that, for instance, if you have 165 on your, I think this is for verbal, you can give yourself a 48 points and then just move on to the next one, which is for cons. And if you also have like say 158, you can get it at 9.5 points. And also your TOEFL, I guess, like these are all English tests. TOEFL or IELTS, they are all like English tests. Then your undergraduate score, basically, if you have by 85% here, it just basically means that, for instance, if you have I think that should be a 4 or 5, if my math is right, 4 or 5, I guess. So like say you have a 4 or 5, how many percent of 5 is 4? So just get that and then you can just give yourself a point to your job experience. You have 1 to 3 years of experience. And now I want to say something about job experience here, which is important. If you are on the group, I know Raphael has mentioned something about the fact that before I came to the United States, I actually was not working as a chemist or something. In fact, other than my industrial training experience that I actually worked at Nigerian Port Authority, that was the only chemistry related experience that I had. Every other experience I had were actually IT experience, if that makes sense. I was either working with robots or just writing a bunch of codes or just doing user interface design. And then while a lot of people would like to tell you that this job experience have to be, how do I put it now? That it has to be a very, very related job experience to whatever degree you're trying to do. I would also like to tell you that job experiences can actually also show very, very good transferable skills. And it doesn't really matter that much. It does matter, don't get me wrong. But I'm saying that for my case, I was able to relate whatever it is I did for the past 3 years to chemistry. And now I think that these skills that I've gained through this thing can actually help research in a way. And good for me, it worked out. And then, so you can also give yourself points for that. Extracurricular activities, just like Tosin mentioned in your CV, you can also go ahead to add, give yourself points for whatever extracurricular activities you have. And this is actually also based on like a lot of other stuff like paper presentation. Also, I would also say, apart from paper presentation and all those stuff, you can also add like your leadership positions, like representations of people. I've noticed one thing about United States, they actually like people that have a life outside of academia. So just try to at least do not, I know that at times Nigerians, how do I put this? I know that back, especially when I was back in FUTA, then the whole idea of you being an FUA or something is always people seeing you under the street lights along the road to Akindeko, sitting there in under the flies, doing between that and reading all night, blah blah blah. Those things are good, but yeah, that's not the entire judge here of how serious you are in school. They believe that people should have a life outside of academic. So you can also add those here too if you want. Now, if you total your scores, you should fall between this range and you can just see the grades that you have. And based on those grades, you can see the list of schools. I do think that most of the schools in this A+ profile are basically Ivy League schools and they have their links right there. I'm also going to show you how to navigate the website, but I'm only going to pick 1 or 2 schools and show you how to navigate the website. I think it is easy if you can walk through it. So if you just look through all of these schools, you can actually see a long list of schools based on the grades you've given yourself. Again, I would like to say this, it is not a cast in stone. You can as well still look up, apply to other schools in these other categories and still get in. It is not a It is not if you don't make it, you can do. If you don't have certain grade points, you can apply there. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna move on to the next thing here. So let me see. There's also something about R1 schools and R2 schools. I don't know if anybody mentioned that. Okay, but first of all, before we go to that, I would like to say this too. Based on the ranking of these schools, I've noticed what a lot of people do, no matter how strong you think your profile is. If for instance, after grading yourself in an ideal situation, you do see that, okay, I can apply to most of the schools in this grade A, for instance, Purdue University, Princeton University, Pennsylvania State University. A lot of people just apply to only schools in this range and be like, okay, one of them should take me. God forbid. It happens to a lot of people, but God forbid it happens to you. There are times when all of the school in that grade A that you think you're qualified for, which you are qualified for, obviously, decide and be like, okay, we are not giving you admission, and they don't give you. It happens to a lot of people at times. And that's why I do have a rule, which is I try to call like the 60, 30, 10 rule. And what I do is that 60% of my school choice will be based on what I think I'm sure that I'm qualified for based on my academic history, my experiences and all of those things. Yeah. And then I do go to like 30%. The rest of 30%, I'm going to go like just a grade lower, like A minus or to B, and just apply to most of those schools, which most of the time what happens is that most of those schools eventually give you like admissions, and that way you have something to fall back to if anything goes wrong at the top. And the last 10% is actually just school on the lower spectrum. And I call that the safety net, because you will know that eventually, last, even if I chop breakfast for every other one, at least this one's, yeah. But again, these things I'm saying are just based on like experiences. I know people that have legit like received emails from some schools that actually do think that you're too good enough for their program and think that they cannot take them into the program, because they do know that these people would have better like admission offers from other schools, and it's just going to be a waste of time giving them the offer anyway. But again, that's not to say that that's what happens every time. And that's why I say most of the things we are all talking about here, first of all, based on experience, and some of them have proven track record of working almost every time, if that makes sense. So let me take you to a very familiar, like for me, a familiar website. Let me see. Oh no, first, before I do that, let's do this. First of all, the way I search for schools at times based on and it all depends on your choice. Some of you might be like, okay, I only want to go to the state of Texas, which is a very, very bad idea anyway. But like, yeah, again, maybe you have some states in mind that you want to be in. I want to be in Texas. I want to be in Atlanta. I want to be blah, blah, blah. You can literally just type in universities in Atlanta, and definitely Google will give you like a list of schools. You can see them: Georgia State University, GIT. You can just click on those schools. They'll go to the website. You can just look at them, check through that. Like for me, I know when I was applying to, anytime I find a school in a state and I'm applying to that, what I just do is I just click on, for instance, when I was applying universities, sorry. When I did that and I applied to LSU, I also tried to look at other schools there, and I actually also just dumped my applications on them anyway. So I just went ahead and do all of those, which is a very good approach to go at times. But most times I do not advise that approach. But yeah, again, it is a very, very good approach to use. You get. So but one thing I like to do is, for instance, if I'm interested in chemistry, I do something like chemistry graduate programs. And most of the times, the result that comes up first is this result from US News. US News is a very, 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 very good website. It's a very, very good resource for actually looking for schools. And the reason why I think I like US School is also because it gives you the ranking of these programs, how do I explain this? Now, in the United States, there are like rankings for universities, like say, maybe MIT is one, or California Institute of Technology is one. They give you all those rankings. But again, if you're looking for a particular ranking for a program, MIT might not necessarily be the number one university in the United States at that point, but they might be the number one university in chemistry at that point, if that makes sense. So you can see, yeah, as you look at the ranking, you see number one in chemistry, number two in chemistry. So you can check all those schools. Again, at times I advise, you can do it and you can get away with it, but at times don't overshoot your shots. Like for me personally, maybe it's just me limiting myself. I just think that if I had applied to like MIT or Stanford universities, that have probably been a waste of my own money anyway, doing it. It doesn't mean that I cannot. And I do know people who do not necessarily have a first class, or who do not necessarily have as good as a grade as I do, that are actually in these programs. But yeah, again, I'll say that they might have other things that are actually contributing to the way their profile is being viewed or looked at by these universities. And I do personally think that, first of all, I do not really have very, very good research experience in chemistry. My research experience has also been in another field. Also, my personal work experience has also been in another field. And I feel like applying to these strong schools is only going to be a waste of my own time and money. So why do I have to do it anyway? So you just keep looking. And I do know that at some point you feel like, oh, okay. Like for me, let me see. I think right from 21. No, I don't think it's 21. Let me see. I knew, yeah, Purdue. This was where I started my own application point from Purdue downwards. And I do think Purdue gave us this application waiver, then I just applied there. So from there, I just started looking at those schools and be like, okay, yeah, apply to these schools. So you can do one thing, you can just click on this link. It opens another page for you. And also it can take you to, let me close this for some reason. So it's going to take you to the university page, or what I would also say, which is that's chemistry. Yeah, but what I do most times is I just copy this. Is an easier way for me. There are lots of ways to do this, like I said, but yeah, this is the way I do it. I just copy that. Just put it in here. I'm typing. Coming. And it takes me just to, so you can see that's it. You can see chemistry graduate program at Indiana. That's just it. It's quite straightforward to actually find these pages if you know how to like navigate those things. So that way you don't have to like go through, type in Indiana University and then start looking for. Again, I would also teach how to do that if you have to go to the university's main page anyway. But again, I think it's just easier this way, just brings you directly to Department of Chemistry. And what you can do is, these schools have like different ways they present these stuff. At times, some of them just have this admissions link, and this admissions link might actually take you to a page that tells you about how to apply and all of those things. You can see it says they have an application waiver, fee waiver, a limited number of blah, blah, blah. They tell you all of those things. You can find them there. And I've not been to this website before, but I'm just as an example. For instance, you can just see, if you read through the information, you can see the international student admissions there. You can just go ahead to click on that. It will most likely give you a streamlined information about yourself for your own application there. But also, you can also try to, what I like to do most of the times is just to go to find an email address that I actually send an email to. Like, for instance, you can see chemgrad at IU, blah, blah, blah. You can always shoot them an email, and this is a simple email. You don't need to send them your entire life, telling them how you've cooked some stuff in the backyard and all of this. No, this is an application correspondence generally. So you can just tell them, oh, you are interested in applying to their program, blah, 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 and you need much more information about their program. You can also ask them about availability of funding. That's a good thing. You don't need to always ask a professor directly. You can always ask, like most of these emails that they have, you can ask them how to get funding from their department. So they will most likely tell you the kind of fundings they have available. They would also tell you okay, one more thing I need to mention is that some websites, they would actually tell you that they require certain exams like GRE, TOEFL, blah, 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 of those things. And most of the times, for some schools that I actually did not eventually submit some of those things for, I actually found out by sending an email to these people. They will just tell you, okay, we already waived this, but obviously they didn't update it on their website. So you can also do that and just, go around that. One very important thing I need you guys to know is how to find faculties. By faculty, I know that in Nigeria, we use the word faculty for, like, say, School of Sciences, School of Engineering, or Faculty of Engineering, blah, blah, blah. But here, right, in the United States, faculty actually means professors or whatever you want to call them, doctors, like they like to call themselves. So yeah, you can find research faculty. I like this website, actually. They actually broke down, like, so you don't waste your time when teaching faculty are actually just people that teach at the university. A lot of universities have those doctors who are just like lecturers, basically. They actually do not carry out research. Some of them do have that. So you can see them, they're just lecturers. But you can go to research faculty. And at this point, I like to already know if I can even apply to this school anyway. Like, by just, because some of the requirements by the school are actually requirements placed by graduate school and not by the department. At times, some departments have the ability to actually help you talk to the grad school themselves and just help you waive some of these requirements. But again, like I said, what works for one school does not work for the other. That's why you have to try to talk to people if you can. So right on these websites, I'm sure you can just click on the professor's name. Most times they have this link that goes to their website. Like, you can see Brown Group here. If you click on Brown Group, it's going to take you to this professor's website, his personal website, where you find information about the stuff he does. You can find out if you're interested in his research. Let me move this around. I think, yeah, you can see his research here. If you click on that, you find research. So this will tell you the stuff he's doing, basically. And there you can find out if you're really interested in what he's doing or not. Most of the times, I know that some of the stuff we read right here just go over our heads. But again, just look for keywords that you think like just jives with you, that actually matches with some of your own interests, and that should work. Then also, for me, what I did and I'm not asking you to do this basically, but I'm telling you that this is something I did and I think did work for me. And what I did was I go to publication and look for their most recent publications. Like, this is this person's most recent publication. Let me see. Yeah, you can just do that and open it. For those of you that don't know how to, again, some of you can just read the abstract and just get the idea about what the person's research is about. Again, this is a tedious process. I like to do it because, again, and I tell people, especially if you are really, really interested in research, and I think this is something I'm going to end with when I want to finish this talk, and I'm going to talk about, like, making sure you go to about choosing groups and all of those things, because it's very, very important. But again, you can as well just, if you really want to go into this paper, you don't have to read the entire paper. Again, that is definitely not necessary. But you just copy the DOI so that you can have access to at least read the abstract so you know what they are doing, and go read the conclusion. That's what I do most times. So what I just do is I go to SciHub. This is not very legal, but yeah, you can do it anyway. I just go to SciHub. A lot of researchers do use this website. Just copy the DOI there. Let me see if this paper is available on DOI on SciHub. If it's not, you can just go look for the next one that is available. But again, you can just click on PDF here. It just takes you to the page. And you can just go to let me see. Oh, I need to access through Louisiana at my university. But if you are accessing from Nigeria, most likely you'll not be able to access that page. So, sorry. You'll not be able to access that page, but then, so I just go read the abstract, then go to the conclusion over there, which is able to find somewhere. I'm saying, yeah, we usually really short conclusions that they have. Let me see. Sorry, just allow me. Oh, I think I just passed it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's where in conclusion, yeah, you can read that. And that should help you, like, yeah, give you a rough idea about whatever the person is doing. And then when you are sending an email, this paper is not available on SciHub yet. So when you are sending an email to that professor, you are sending a more informed email, telling them what you can do and what you can bring to the table to their research. In fact, that way the person knows that you are very, very much interested in their research and you're not just shooting your shot everywhere. I like to do this for every professor I'm trying to shoot my emails. And again, it also helps you to determine if or not you're really, really interested in this person's whatever. So one thing I like to do again is try to look for graduate students I don't know, maybe not all websites have that, but for a lot of universities, I know they do have that. So you might be able to, let me see. Let me see if this website has that. But a lot of universities have websites where you can find. Let's see if they have something like that. They're just scientists, right? Yeah, I think they're, oh, just photos. Let's see. I don't think they have that. Let's see if you can find them. But just on websites like this, probably if you cannot find the grad student email, I'm sure it might be somewhere that I can't find it. But again, you can just like easily copy this person's name. For instance, you can do let me see, Christine. I know I might be dumping a lot on you right now, but like, yeah, I just hope you're paying attention to Alanis. And just put what's the name of the school? Indiana, what's the school you're working with again? Let me see, Indiana University. Might be able to find the person. Most likely you might be able to put. Yeah, that's the person's LinkedIn. You can just shoot the person an email, you see. So that works most of the times. Oh, and this person already left. I think this person is at Texas A&M right now, I guess. Yeah. So you can always like just look for them like that. And it's as easy as like, yeah, just looking everywhere and looking for whatever you can find. And the reason why I like to look for grad students over there, especially Nigerians, because most times Nigerians are always everywhere, is that it makes life easy for you. Nigerians that are there would actually tell you what they did to get in. They would even give you like insider information. Like this year alone, I do know like 3 people that are coming to LSE chemistry that actually like they legit like reached out to me, and I was able to tell them like, oh, don't like in your what is it called, SOP, don't mention, you might not need to mention this person because I'm already sure that that person doesn't need the student anyway. Because again, those things actually are put into considerations to when grad school is looking at the word again, your application. Like when you look at your application, you tell them that you want to join a particular professor's research lab. The person might just be like, the admission committee might just be like, oh, this person doesn't need the student. And maybe the other person you should also mention does not need the student. Then yeah, they just reject you, not because you're not qualified, but just based on the fact that your interest at that point, they cannot take you based on your interest. But again, this does not apply to all schools, yeah. Maybe some schools, like for LSU, for instance, you have to be here for at least a semester before you even join the research lab anyway. But again, talking to a professor helps because that way the professor knows that you're coming and they already have in mind that you're going to be joining their research lab. So I think that works for most of the sciences field and engineering field. But again, say for instance, you want to do, let me leave chemistry graduate program. Let's look for a very, let me think about one. Agriculture is also a sciences field, at least right here, but those ones are kind of like easy to find. But let me look for something that I think, say sociology or kinesiology or something. Yeah, or even public health. You can go as, yeah, public health is also something I think people are really interested in. Like public health program in the United States. You can always find stuff like this, US News, going to the website. It also gives you rankings of, you see, journal. It's just the same way I do it every time. Again, I can also just decide to go through schools and just do university, of which this one is kind of like tedious for me in a way. Universities in Texas, UT Austin, for instance. You can just go to, where's the website link again? Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, that's the website. Just go to the website. Most times, now this is if you are just going through the website directly, which I don't advise. At times takes a lot of times. So a lot of time rather, you can also see that they have a graduate school link right there. And also, if you are going for undergrad, you can just keep looking under, like most of these schools, You can actually find your program there, School of Architecture, School of whatever. Or for graduate school, for instance, which is what we are looking for. Now, if I were you, this is something I would like to pay attention to. I really do not know what it means. It might just be an award that they give to some of their graduate school that is already in the program. It might also be something they give to incoming graduate school students, but I do not know. And what I like to do is most times when I find stuff, I get curious, very curious, and just try to open that link again and see what those people did to actually get them. And yeah, it might actually be one of the ways to find out. And now you can see this page, you have admissions, key dates, finances. You can just find out, like if you click on finances, I'm sure you might be able to find like information about the kind of fundings they have. Basically, I might be wrong. But then I like to go through admissions. And when I come to admissions, these are times, might be a good way to go, but I think most times it just wastes a lot of time to trying to do that. But you can just like click on graduate admission or just try to look for. So this is definitely the page that takes you to the admission application page, obviously. You can also find application deadline information. How much the application fee is, $65. If you're from the national, if you're an international student, you can find $90. Those are the informations. Fee waivers. Also, about the website I talked about the other time, you can also try to ask them if they have fee waivers, to application fee waivers, which is also something you should do. Also, you might need to check out for how they want their transcript to be submitted. Some schools will clearly state that they do not want unofficial transcripts. Some will clearly state that, and you need to find out that. So before you invest your time into a school, if you think you do not have an extra 10,000 or 5,000 to spend on sending your transcript to any school, if you think it's something you don't want to do, which I think you might be able to do at times, like some schools, like, I don't know what they mean by this, but some schools will tell you that they don't want an official transcript, and you just need to find out anyway. And some of them have like very special requirement for certain programs you are doing. So that's how you find that, I guess. And again, from here, I do think you can just basically look for, let's see. I'm just gonna go back from here. And so you can contact graduate admissions, which is one of the emails I was telling you about before. But then you can just go to areas of study, click on graduate degree. Yeah, you can check graduate catalog. I hope I'm not moving too fast though. But yeah, that's just how I look for like stuffs if I'm looking for them. And that's a general information catalog. I'm sure you can be able to find most of the programs right there. But again, I think probably just clicking on that link would show you the field of study. Still bringing me back right here. Yeah, that's it. Those are the stuff that they have in graduate school. So architecture, business, communication, education, engineering, finance, geosciences. And I've never been on this website though. And that's why I said I'm doing this haphazardly, because the reason I'm doing this is because I want to see my thought process when I'm going to, so it doesn't look like I have a pre-planned way or I have some schools in mind. So this is just me looking through this website and just being able to like look for whatever it is I'm trying to look for. So if you could just click on geosciences, for instance, should give you more information about whatever it is they have. I think this page is still loading, I guess. Yeah, and you can also look for, I think click on, yeah, that's it. So you can see what the information about that. And again, yes, such kind of email address, you can actually shoot an email again to find out more about the program, to find out how to apply to the program, their requirements, what your interest is. And I'm sure on these pages, you can actually also go to the department website themselves, which they already put here to the URL, takes you to their page. And right here, you can click on people. I like to, anytime I see people, faculty, blah, 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 just go there immediately. And oh, good. This is an example of what I was talking about. You can see that you can find the faculty here. You can find the faculty email address right there. And it might look like you don't have the link to their page, but you do. Once you just click on the name, you can go to the person's bio, they always most times have a link to a website or just an inbuilt website right there. And a publication, they also have emails. You see a brief about whatever it is they are doing, their research, their awards, their postdoc students. You can see all of those things. And again, one thing I like to do again is if you find a professor you're really interested in working with, you can try to shoot some of the students in this group an email and see if they reply. Most times they don't, but some people do reply. But again, I like to go to graduate students and you'll be able to find the emails. Again, for me, what I do first is scan through all of these names and see if I find anything that looks familiar. If I see any name that is African or Nigerian, I just shoot them an email immediately. Most times Nigerians are more like very receptive and they might just reply your email when they see that, yeah, you're a genuine person. And then if you don't find any, just shoot like up to like 10 or 15 people. Just compose a generic email asking them the same exact question and just send it to all of them. 1, 2, 3 people will reply you definitely. And yeah, I do think going that route is actually also a good way to do, although that's not something I would like to do, but yeah. Let me see. I'm just showing you different ways you can do it. Now, for instance, this is fine art. This is liberal arts, which you can also click on. And on this page, they have African and African diaspora studies, American studies. Again, it might look like these programs that are funding, but it will shock you that when you for instance, if you click on, okay, let me see. English language, for instance, if you send an email to any information you find or any email address you find, or in fact, if you can also invest in making calls to, which is something I think I did a lot. I'm sure Raphael did the same too. Like from Nigeria, you can actually just call this number. They will definitely pick up. Just make sure you check the time before you do it. Just call them and ask them all the information. They will definitely be ready to answer your questions. One thing I've noticed about white people is that they are not really okay. Let me know it's all white people, Americans. They are not uptight. Like really, they're really not uptight. They would really they're always willing to help you if you really ask genuine questions, if that makes sense. So I think I've been able to take you through basically how you can navigate to website. Again, I think Tosin shared a list one time about a list that has some schools and some programs. One thing is that some people have, based on, okay, there was this group I was before. One thing they make us do every time you get admission from a particular school and you have like funding from that school, they just tell you to upload it onto a Google Drive. They have this spreadsheet where you write your name and the school and the program and if you have funding or not. So a lot of people, like some groups, study groups or GRE groups or like apply abroad groups, they have those kind of like spreadsheets that they actually share with other people too, because that way you can actually also just find a school there and be like, oh, this person got into this program. You can even see the person's profile and try to compare to your own profile and see how to do that. Also, Grad Cafe is a place to see 20. I can do 2021 chemistry admissions, for instance. Grad Cafe is a very good website to actually try to see. Again, don't go off this and be like, oh, okay, maybe I cannot get into this program. Like, but I'm just telling you. You can kind of like find people who recently got admitted into programs on this website. I think I've not done this in a very long time. I think the last time I did this was in 2019, but I can't remember how to do it anymore. But I'm probably going to just create a slide and show how to do that. You can basically just find people and their profile and the admission, the program they were able to get into. Oh, for instance, this person is saying I have received 2 pages of one from Cambridge and from. And I do think when you click on the person's name, you can find the person's profile, I guess. There was a way I used to look for this. It just shows you the person's. This was all the person's applications in. Yeah, some people go as far as putting up what their profile looks like. I'm probably going to just look for it next time and be able to share that, or just send it via the link or something. But yeah, it's also a good place to look for. It's a very, very good place. It's called Grad Cafe to look for. Just not that, you can actually also look at schools there, have conversations with other people that are doing similar stuff to yourself, and just navigate the website. It's kind of like easy to use, so I'm not going to run over that. Just go to Grad Cafe, and yeah, that should be a very, very good thing to do. One last thing I would like to mention, because I do think I've actually just covered most of the stuff I would like to cover, is that when you're applying to graduate school, again, try to think about this as an holistic. I try to think about the admissions committee when they're looking at your profile. It's always an holistic approach. There's no one way to go about it. Your profile is dependent most times on how you sell yourself. That's one thing I've noticed. Most times on how you sell yourself. Never say an experience is irrelevant. Look for one thing that you've achieved in that experience that you have, that you think is transferable, like in a way, just transferable skills. At times it might just be your design thought process. Like one thing I did in my SOP, I think one time, was mention the fact that I was doing UI design. And how did I link that? When you're doing UI design, one of the things you actually do is user research, A/B testing, and all of those things. And I just told them that has actually helped me to develop skills in how to properly plan research, carry out research, and actually how to gauge your results and all of those stuff. And I do think it was a nice addition to my SOP anyway, even if that experience was not literally chemistry, but I was able to kind of find a way to link it. So whatever it is you have right now, just keep working on it. And I do think that, it's going to be good eventually. We would all have good results eventually. So if you have any question at the end of this, I do think you can ask. And if I still need to share my screen to show you some other stuff, I would. Okay, so thank you very much. Raphael, are you still there? Shegun.
Maybe you should call him on phone or something.
Hello?
I think Mike, Matthew is back.
Okay, what up? Yeah, well done. It's quite an educative one. Well done, well done. Thank you so much for the time. So if we have questions, I know some have gone on, but if you have questions, our WhatsApp group is open for questions anytime, any day. And I know we've taken most of our time. But please, do you have anyone that have a question, a quick question, maybe one or two questions before we go today? Do you have anyone? Okay.
So Bro Shegun, I think there are some questions on the chat box. Perhaps we should attend to those questions if we don't have anyone.
Okay.
Question.
Okay. I think Samuel should be able to answer most of the questions.
You asked questions before.
Okay, I have answered some of the questions. Okay, I think the person. Brother Ebenezer Ajayi said, my question is it a must for someone to write this GRE, TOEFL, IELTS exams and the likes before you can apply for a graduate scholarship? Or is there a way it can be waived or ignored when applying for a graduate scholarship? Like someone said, there's no one way to this thing. Please be informed, there's no one way to this thing. But he said these exams would make you attractive and competitive. I know someone that is here without GRE or TOEFL, but you can count how many, and it is not an ideal situation. The ideal situation is for you to prepare for your application by taking GRE. I took GRE, but somebody took GRE. Especially everyone I know took GRE. So that is the ideal thing to do, to take those exams. And don't just go and take the exams. There are platforms for you to take the exams and to score high marks. Our platform is there. We have materials for you to prepare with and ace the examination. So don't just, in my presentation, I said, ask questions. There are many questions. There are many things that we cannot attend to in just 3 hours webinar. So please prepare to take these exams. Okay, bro, Raphael, do you have anything to say? Okay, so someone said, what are the things that someone with undergraduate CGPA of 3.05/5 do to get admission and funding? I have someone that has 2.8 and the person got full funding for this fall, 2022. So I think our facilitators have said a lot of things about how to prepare your profile, how to prepare yourself for graduate school, your skills, your cognitive skills, everything. Don't forget, Brother Simon said something. He said the application process is holistic. So they didn't just check your CGPA, they check your skill, your strengths, what you can you code? Okay, everything you can do. Okay, were you a president, were you a leader? Just everything. Don't worry, we have some templates on how to write academic CVs. Just ask questions on the group. Okay, I think that is from Brother Aki Boyewa. Okay, I think that's just the main questions that are here. Okay, I have someone here, inspiration.
So someone asked question about WASSCE evaluation.
Okay, yeah, I think I answered the question on the chat, but let me just quickly go over it. For the WASSCE evaluation, it's just like a way of evaluating your transcripts to US standard of 4.0. It's in Nigeria, or anyway, there's some schools in Nigeria that use 4.0, like polytechnics. But other universities in Nigeria use 5.0. WASSCE is just bringing it down to US system 4.0. And I think the person asked about what are the chances of guys in polytechnic. I know a lady that is going for a PhD in computer science at Middle Tennessee State University, PhD in computer science. She has HND, and all she did was she sent her ND transcripts and HND transcripts to WASSCE from the school. There's the way they do these things. So WASSCE evaluated a transcript, and she came up with 3.51, which is a distinction in US system. And she got a full funding. Anyway, she did GRE, she got 324 over 340. And she took Duolingo. She didn't even take TOEFL. She took Duolingo English test. She got 110 or so, over 160. And she got full funding. So there's nothing wrong with HND. You can, if you are in polytechnic, you can get full funding. Okay, I think inspiration said, please, sir, all these things here are strange to me. Yes, I have heard of SAT. You see all other things, and I don't understand, maybe because I don't know the requirements needed if one wants to travel abroad or study abroad. I heard something like waiver. Okay. I think Brother I can answer this question. Inspiration, you can chat us on the group, on the WhatsApp group, if you're not here now. Are you applying for MS, Masters or PhD, or are you applying for on a graduate program? Let us know. But I think that's really it.
Oh yeah, just to recap, I don't know, maybe she was maybe
she's here. Can you unmute yourself? Inspiration. Can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Okay. I can hear you.
All right. So I just want to know the requirements. I just want to know, that's it. It's not as if I want to apply for anything, but I can apply later.
Okay. Do you plan to? Is it for undergraduate program or master's or PhD program?
Maybe master's.
Oh no! Don't worry about SAT. SAT is for those that want to apply for undergraduate programs. So
Okay.
I think you went through, or you've been around for all the presentations. I think waiver should be clear to you now, right?
No, it's not clear.
Okay. You can go back, but I will explain to you. But like we said, this video will be made available on YouTube for us to watch and get ourselves acquainted with things we've been discussing here. Waiver is just like the school I am now currently, University of Akron, Ohio. The application fee is $65. And if you are to calculate $65 to Nigeria money now, you'll be paying about 35,000 or so. This is just for the whole school. I applied to over 18 schools, about 20 schools. So imagine each school application fee is like, okay, there's a school that funded me. The application fee is $85. So $85 is about how much now in Nigeria? So imagine that kind of money. So, but you can get waiver. Waiver is like they would waive your application fee. Okay, apply.
Okay.
Pay. That's not waiver. And waiver is WAIVER. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other question? Don't worry. Okay.
SOP.
Okay, SOP is just like your statement of purpose. All these things are covered by everybody that taught today. Don't worry, we'll make these videos available. SOP is just, why you want to attend your school? Okay, what is your motive? What is your motivation? Why do you, everything? I think, bro, what's his name? Tosin made all these things clear. Don't worry, the video will be made available. You can.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
There's something I just remembered.
Okay.
About like undergraduate applications too. If you really want to apply to undergraduate programs, I think you should look out for like HBCU schools.
Yeah.
Like HBCU schools are like, they have a kind of like soft spots for other Black people from developing nations like Nigeria and all of those places. And one good thing again is that most of them have like Nigerian professors in their schools too. So what?
What HBCU schools are? Like,
they are just like Black schools. They what?
The meaning of that acronym.
Oh, let me copy it from YouTube. I don't know. Did I say YouTube? From
yeah,
they're historically Black colleges and universities. I do know that they're like the only thing I know about them is that they are basically like schools for Black people, basically. So I think that's what they are called, historically Black colleges and universities. Okay. But then you can look them up. They have like one form of funding.
I think if, when we are out of time, all these things can be posted on the WhatsApp group for possible schools that are HBC or whatever school.
HBC,
yeah. Oh, well. Thank you very much, everyone. We have spent a lot of time this evening, and I think we're 1 hour. we have exceeded our time limit by 1 hour. So thanks to the facilitators. Really want to appreciate you all. Thank you for everyone who joined, who participated, even in this webinar. We are always ready and available to give you the right information. But one thing I want to say as well is try as much as possible to work on this information and be more independent. The thing is, the admin or the grad students here cannot give you everything. You have to go extra mile and search for information by yourself. And don't expect that we do everything for you. So it is your responsibility. We just want to give you some idea how these things work. So it is your responsibility to get it done yourself. We will help you and assist you to review your application as much as we can. And but try as much as possible to be more independent, work very well with some of the members, even on the group. Some people have contacted me privately. Post your questions on the group. Let everyone some of the admins respond to the questions, and even some of the members have been very active even in responding to questions of other members on the group. So that's how, communication, that's how it begins. And you see other persons in the same program you want to apply for. You rub minds together, you share ideas and resources. That's how it works, and that's how we can go far. Thank you very much once again. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Osho, you can go ahead.
What?
Yeah, we are done.
Okay. Thank you, Michael, for coming, and thank you, Tosin, for also coming. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Sam, have you
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Right?
What did you say, Rafa?
Have you downloaded the video?
Oh, no, I'm just going to stop the recording right now.
Oh,
it's going to be processed by Zoom for a while before they send it to me. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then that's great. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
All right.